You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out, about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waste. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waste.
Hello and welcome to the 489th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, I've got Jess. What's up, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody.
And also Ray. What's going on, Ray?
Hello, hello.
Tonight on the show, we will be going over our gameplay off the top, and it is a feedback episode. We are in Roundtable Season 16, and we'll be going through quests, I believe, was it 4 and 5 tonight. We're still in the early stages of the Brotherhood of Steel Dawn section.
The quests are field testing and disarming discovery. So we talked through ours last week, where we went to help a family with the ghouls, and then we went to help the retreat with their Blood Eagle problem. So curious how everybody tackled that.
We helped the family with the ghouls, then we helped the ghouls with the family.
Wait, no, I don't quite think that's how that worked, but yeah.
Well, we'll get into my gameplay, but yeah. So, yeah, a little gameplay off the top. Feedback for this week, we've got Solior, Vanessa, our good buddy Lee, Will, and Pip-Boy Steve. So that's our feedback crew tonight that we'll hear from. We also have Solior chiming in with a Fallout Terminal Velocity. So stick around for that. We're checking in Fallout 3, Herbert Daring Dashwood from Tenpenny Tower.
Gotta love Herbert. Gotta love Herbert and his audio plays. Got
some iguana bits coming up. TV show news. Letter from John and Bill. Some raid completions. Nuh-uh. You guys.
Yeah, that's in the iguana bits. And hell nah. Did I finish the raid? I mean, wait and find out, but hell nah. No. No, but several friends have at this point. Like, they actually really honestly have.
And we got a few shouts on our way out the door. So why don't we go ahead and roll right into it and see what everybody's been playing this week. Jess, you get a chance to play any video games?
I played video games, but not much Fallout, so I'll make it pretty brief. I was off a lot of this week. It's great. I'm getting my time in, like we talked about, November, December. Enjoying the holidays, enjoying the snow around here. It's been a good bit of snow, but it melted for a couple days this week. So I stocked back up on the groceries and such. Living and eating well. The pug is very, very happy. We could only see we were out of food, so he had to have pizza last Saturday after the show.
Oh, I'm sure he was horribly upset by that.
He was so upset. Oh, no, he was only upset that Mama didn't share. But no, it's been much better this week. So played a lot of Dragon Age, and I'm over halfway through for sure now. Not a lot to report there. The whole team's together. We just had some epic battles. I can say it really is an epic, epic game. The story is quite good overall. I know we've talked a little bit about how sometimes it's a bit CW, and it is, but in a good way. You know what I mean? There's some drama, but it's mostly like, it's drama that's all going to work out in the end. And the story is just huge. I think this is maybe the most epic battle I've ever had in a Dragon Age game, and there have been 4 of them. And for those who have maybe played or know a bit about it, let's just say I just dealt with what happened with the Grey Warden's Fortress at Weishaupt. Did all that, and it was intense.
Do you have equal control over every member of your party, or are you more in control of like a leader and there's NPCs involved?
So you're a leader with companions, and you always have a party of 3 in this game. So it's you plus 2 companions, like in the Mass Effect.
And you have no control over those. You can't be like, hey, you attack closer, or you stand further away.
Actually, you can somewhat. So it's funny because it's less in this game than any previous Dragon Age, but you still do. So in previous ones, you could actually swap control and take complete control of another character. So control where they go, who they attack, what spells they cast, all that, if they were using magic. In this one, you do get a hotbar. So you know how like during VATS, you can VATS and pick your target, or you can pause and pull up a wheel. Not in 76, but in the other faults, you can pause and pull up a wheel to do your stim packs, swap weapons, all that.
Mm-hmm.
So on this, there's a command wheel. You pull it up, and your companions all have 3 active abilities you've assigned them. So you can choose if they use one of their 3 main active abilities you've assigned. You can choose who they attack, and you can even set up combinations. So say you're casting a spell that causes weakness on a character, and another one has a spell that exploits weakness when it's been put on. So you can cast that and strategically have them also use a skill that will do that, and they combine. You can also simply tell them who to attack. So you have control that way, as far as like attack this, use this, but you can't control where they move and all that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you can never control where Piper walks. She just gets in your way. Same deal. And really, let's be honest, it's more dog meat in our way. I don't mind Piper so much. Or Curie, as the case may be. But yeah,
oh,
so
geez. You always got to bring that up.
it's fun with the pictures, posing them for pictures. That is the one problem when you can't actually tell them where you want them to be. You just kind of walk back and forth and wiggle till they're in the right spot.
Did you get to create the characters and name them, or they just sort of joined your party?
No, there are official companions, NPCs that you have. Yeah, and there's
so that everyone who
romance,
plays has the same ones, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We all have our own unique main character. Like we all have our unique main character. But so like you can be any soul survivor. You can be Nick or Nate or Nora. Sorry, Nick or Nora. Wrong show. But Piper's always Piper and McCready is always McCready. So it's like that. So everyone's dealing with same side characters, and it's always been that way in Dragon Age. They have voice actors. They really, the NPC like main companions in any of the games are the most developed. So that's really part of the joy of it. Is while it is 100% a full role playing game where you have a lot of choice and control over your character, you're also experiencing these stories.
What's your special look like? And like, how's that applied? The sort of like skills allotment.
So it's varied over the years. It was originally a little bit more spelled out. Now it's not as much, but you have your attack strength and your defense, and then you have a bunch of modifiers. Like if you pull up the stats, you can actually scroll a good 100 stats with modifiers, but they're all kind of affected by your gear. You know what I mean? Your initial class, your race, and your gear. So I might have a sword that causes more stagger, less physical damage, but also gives me 20% more on critical hits. Kind of like a legendary weapon, but every weapon has their value. Every armor has their value. So all that adds up. The rings you're wearing, it's that D&D thing, right? The rings, the armor, the helmets. And so that all adds up. So you pull and you scroll. And right now I am running a necrosis build on my rogue. So I'm a dual wielding rogue.
Whoa.
I love dual wielding rogues. My favorite.
Let's see. Necrosis. Does that... Wait. What would that
I'm a
imply?
death dealer, literally.
I was going to say, are you bringing dead things to life? That's not necrosis. Are you causing things to rot? What are you doing?
That's necromancy. Well, yeah, that is actually the latter one, kind of. So for damage, you can do bleeding, like status effects, like bleeding, burning for fire, freezing or chill for cold, and then necrosis is the thing they have. And so, yeah, is that like entropy?
Poison, kind of, right?
It's kind of like poison, but yeah, it's like necrotic poison. It's an odd thing, and they haven't really dealt with it in the same way in the previous games that I remember. I think it always used to be poison. So I do feel kind of weird. I'm like, am I just like death-tipped daggers? Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of fun.
And it's essentially a damage type. And you do have a necromancer in the party, too, once you recruit him. And he does much more of the usual, raising the skeletons and controlling ghosts and zombies and such.
That's fun.
And so, that's what it's all related to. Vincent Price, the Lior says. Yeah, he looks a bit like Vincent Price, for sure.
In y'all's neighborhoods.
He's a great character. He's like the most polite and sweet necromancer ever. Just really, I like having him in the party. But we're making good headway there.
You never think of those guys being like super sweet, Think of it usually be of like grave robbers and such.
Kind of the against type, but no, he's on the council, and He helps maintain the Grand Necropolis, and he's very polite, cup of tea. His manservant, Manfred, is an animated skeleton, a short little guy. So he's basically a skeleton put together that is actually like animated by a wisp. So he's controlled by like this wisp who's a spirit of curiosity. The spirit of curiosity inhabits the skeleton, and he's very helpful. He wants to learn about the world, so he took on a physical body, kind of like Curie, wanted to experience the world, but maybe a little different. And he's just he's a little guy, and he's voiced by Matt Mercer, who I'm sure you know from plenty of previous games. He has Critical Role and other things. And of course, in Skyrim, Matt Mercer, he was in the Thieves Guild, right? Was he?
Matt Mercer, where's Sullior when you need him? He'll pop that off the top of his head.
Very much enjoying Dragon Age still. I did think I would be done by the end of this week, or I was hoping.
Yeah. But
even though most people are getting done in 100 hours, I'm probably going to be at least 120 because I'm solid 75 or 80 now. Oh, so you're saying Matt Mercer, I don't think he's in Skyrim. See, I thought he was in the Thieves Guild. I thought he was one of the... He's not in Skyrim. I made that up. Okay. There we go. But yeah, so that's that. As far as Fallout, I've just done some basic maintenance on the character. I got in on my main and did some chore board stuff. I'm up to like 16 or 17 on the chore board, so very slow going so far. I haven't really made a whole lot of headway, but that's fine. You know, did the weeklies once and like maybe 2 days worth of dailies, and that's about it. Beyond that, I hung out with friends doing a raid again. I almost went in. I almost did, but here's the thing. Like I said last week, I kind of want to know what I'm doing first. I kind of want to have a build when I do it. You know, go with people who have done it before or figured some of it out. I've now seen more strategies, and so I'm now more willing to when if I get a good party together. But there are a couple ways to do it. There are people doing it without power armor, but power armor, overeaters especially, people are mentioning full health builds, spamming the stim packs. On the Robit, one of the tricks, besides we talked about how best weapons tend to be the heavy weapons builds and all that, but I'm told that it's better to stim packs, like spam stim packs, and just take the damage from the Robit while you're there in your power armor, you know, as opposed to ducking behind the pillar and coming back in and out and in and out to just keep kind of going on that.
Evidently, you can stand on the center ring with him.
Oh, have you seen someone do that?
Yeah, Turtle did it. And he uses a minigun to shoot him, but only to activate bullet shield. And so between bullet shield and ricochet, the robot ends up killing itself.
That makes sense, because that's what a lot of people have said. Using the bullet shield, and especially ricochet, is an almost mandatory perk. And that way, because if you're using ricochet while the robot's shooting you, that's going to do more damage to his shield and him, right?
Yeah.
So that's super smart.
And he's got something else that heals him when he's taken damage from the robot. I don't remember. I wasn't paying super close attention since I had no intention of doing it myself. but you could if you stand on the center ring with the robot, the electricity doesn't get you. So originally he was stacking power armor and standing on top of this power armor.
Oh, that's funny. Kind of like going to the second floor or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, so that he wouldn't touch the ring and get electrocuted. But then somebody had mentioned that you could stand on the center ring. So that's what he was doing. And so he would just stand there and he, shooting it with the minigun, doing a little bit of damage, but not much. But then as soon as the robot started shooting at him, its health just disappeared. So
okay, yeah. I mean it's very dangerous. But troubleshooters, the overeaters, the heavy power armor, spamming the stim packs. People are going through so much stim packs for that.
All right, so you're giving me horrible ideas that we're having a Fallout feed raid. Let's go, guys! Come on, team!
No.
Come on, team! Me, Ray, and Jess. We're
after I've done it a couple
go
times
on a raid and get our asses.
He's
kicked.
also
Believe in to
level
die.
1,000 something.
I'm level 36. All right.
It's funny, joking about it last week, he was tough enough, and it seems like they buffed him after the first couple of days. Because people were, I think we talked about how people were kind of grinding him, because you can get the majority of the plans just by getting past the first guy. Which, okay, that makes sense. You beat a stage, you get a plan, and so people were just kind of grinding that. And they're like, oh, we don't want them to be able to do that, so let's make him tougher, which made it much harder on people. You have to get past it. But besides all the damage he does and the electric ring that you're talking about, if you're on the ground where it can hit you, you also have to, there's a heat blast between different health levels. So it's like 80% health, 50% health. And when that happens, lights will start blinking on one of 3 doors, A, B, or C. And you have to get up and run into the door, into the room, so that you'll escape the heat blast. But you don't know which one is going to light up and do that until it happens. As far as I know, I don't think it's the same one every time. So it's scary. A couple times just watching friends do it, they go for the wrong door and insta die because they get melted by the furnace blast.
So Matthew Mercer was McCready in Fallout 4.
Thank you. Played McCready in 4. Awesome.
He's in Starfield.
Yeah, he's definitely in Starfield.
Ezekiel.
Which is one of the NPCs in Aquila, right? Okay. Yeah, I remember him. But yeah, I guess maybe I made it up. Why do I keep thinking he is in the Thieves Guild as one of the main guys, not... Who's the main really gruff guy?
Mercer
Who's
Frey.
running things? Yeah, Mercer. That's why I'm thinking it, because his name's Mercer. Okay.
Mercer Frey.
Complete brain wires crossed there. That
That's
makes perfect
hilarious.
sense. But that's my gameplay. I will do the raid, but otherwise the season so far is fun. I can't pick a title yet. Out of the new titles we've been given, I'm not super happy with any of them. Like, they just don't work. So I'm taking like a single name. For a while I tried Dweller. Now I'm just doing like Adventurer, because while you have a prefix and a suffix, you don't have to keep both. You know what I mean? So you can use just a prefix or just a suffix, and it gives you more options.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'll unlock
I
more
finally
as the season
loaded
goes on.
mine.
Oh, did you? What did you choose? Carnivore?
Old Adventurer.
Old
Attaboy.
Adventurer. That works. Yeah, I almost picked old as my suffix, as my prefix. I like that one because there's old and there's new. Goblin, Destroyer, Delver.
Old
I'll find one that
Goblin.
fits eventually.
That's good.
It's good. There's of Worlds. I've seen a couple Destroyer of Worlds. That's a classic. Maybe a bit bombastic. There's also Stinky, which, why would anyone choose Stinky? And yet I've seen a couple people do it. And yeah, let's see. Did anyone put their names in chat? I think Slior is Golden something.
Mine is Cat.
Cat. You can do both. Andrew, I seriously did dog for a minute.
Did you? That's great. I was just like, oh, look, that's cat. There's a okay, that's fun. I'll be cat something. And then I saw another cat and I was like, yep, we're going cat. All right.
Sweet. Stratoblaster is Devilish Delver. Silior is
Very
a golden
good. I like the
fire breather.
alliteration.
Got a couple good ones happening there. Yeah. So, right, these superhero names, I kind of want to use the mind. Well, first of all, I wanted to use Movie Star, but then I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. And then I kind of want the mind from the dolphin thingies.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're so dumb. Let's be honest. We all kind of hate the dolphins, though we kind of, I love them too, because
It
they're
was
so
silly and weird, yeah.
so absurd. So I love that. But I'm trying to think what I can mix it with. Like, is there Master? If Master was one, Mastermind would be fun, but I don't think there is.
That's funny. Mastermind.
Devious, Devilish. There's so many good ones, right? Cold Steel Cryptozoologist. That's a good one. Like, just use Cryptozoologist. I think you have to finish a lifetime challenge of, I don't know if it's like killing 76 cryptids or photographing 76 cryptids or something to get that one.
I just learned, just because I saw one pop the other day, it's like, oh, I'm unlocking these names. I didn't realize that there was... I just thought that there was a list. You can choose whatever, but...
A lot of them are from events, and then some of them are your lifetime challenges. You know, so under the world challenges, your survival challenges, stuff like that. So I do have a full list, but I don't have what they're connected to.
Oh, damn it. I was going to ask, will you look up what cat unlocks, please?
What are you looking for? A cat?
Yeah, I just wonder
Cat just comes from buying a cat.
Oh, okay. There you go.
In the Atomic Shop. Dog comes from buying a dog in the Atomic Shop. So yes, I do have a dog now too. I mean, like, duh. Of course, I was going to get a dog too.
We're still only on German Shepherd and Tabby. They haven't branched out.
Yes, but there are the two
yet?
on the season board when you get to them. So you get the White Shepherd too, and then
a White Shepherd. Ooh.
Yes, and then the cat that has more like the blue tip ears, like the white and blue cat. So a couple of things.
Cool.
Yeah, I will post the list in the Discord so people can look at it, just so that it's in there.
Anyone figured out yet how to put multiple pet beds down?
No, well, not legally. I think the answer is no. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun to have, but you've got pets and allies, right? You can have both. So that's something where they're already multiplying.
Yeah, I had my cat farm out with Mr. Goodfeels at the last round table.
What color cat was the one you got in the atomic shop? Was that a whitish or tabby?
It's kind of like a gray tabby, I think.
Okay. Then it's a black cat on the scoreboard, like a Bombay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go get one of them. Them the Bebbers cats. Go get them.
Good times. But
you got
that's
more?
it for my
Yeah,
gameplay.
I was just about to say, what else you got? Ray, how about you, sir? Did you get a chance to play video games this week? Playing more Chernobyl?
Yeah,
2?
definitely a lot more Stalker 2.
I said Chernobyl. Stalker 2?
You went back.
Yeah, I had just gotten to a spot where it was a really hard spot to get through, and die, and so I thought, okay, I've had this before. I just need to stop, get out of it for a little bit, and then I'll come back, and so sure enough, so I played a little bit more of Fallout London. I was I'm watching both Gopher and Miniature Nerd, with their playthroughs.
Yeah, they're doing those long playthroughs.
Yeah, and so it just makes me want to play again. So I hopped in with one of the only characters I have now that hasn't finished the game, and this character, I took that level 20 perk of Explorer, where you open up all the map, and so you can see all the locations that are in the game. So I started roaming around, just visiting locations I hadn't been to with other playthroughs. And I was walking along, and there were some gatherers gathering outside of a door that I didn't know was
That's
a door.
what they do.
Exactly. Until one of them walked through it.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, dude, that's a door? Sweet. So, of course, you get close to them and they go hostile, so kill them. Go through the door, and now you're in a junkyard that's full of robots and gatherers. So the first time I charged in, and next thing I know, I'm fighting robots and gatherers. And so after I died from that, I thought, you know what? I think I noticed that the robots and gatherers were fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
wait it out.
when I just kind of let that play out. So the robots cleaned out the gatherers, and then I went through and killed all the robots.
You're in London, right?
Yeah, this is London.
Are the robots any different, or they just use the same exact robots?
Same robots, different sounds.
That's fun. They say like Cheerio and top of the day and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they do that in regular Fallout 4 too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
right.
to be
Half
fair,
of them are British. You're right.
they have the British accent. Exactly. A lot of them, one kind or another. You've got like Whitechapel Charlie, of course, with his own flavor.
Yeah, but so I'm looking around. Okay, it's a cool space. I'm going through, looting what I can, and I turn this corner, and there's another door. I'm like, oh, where does this go? So I open that door, and now I'm in a football stadium. I'm standing on the pitch, being talked to by some ghouls, and turns out in this obscure little spot, there's a quest.
That's incredible. Also, do you mean a soccer field?
Yeah, football field.
Right, exactly. Okay, football. Got it. So this one
London.
door
No,
led to a
it's-
whole couple areas and a
if you're
quest.
gonna do it right. It's called a pitch, not a field. Come on.
I go through this quest, and it's a pretty long, involved quest with these ghouls, and ended up getting Joan of Arc's sword as a reward, which will also leave a clue as to the origin of the ghouls.
That's awesome.
A soggy woman in a lake handing out swords is no.
So that was fun. That made for a delightful distraction for that day.
I'm really glad you went back in to see that, because obviously you were going to give it a break for a couple months until the next update or something. But
Yeah.
you only made it like a week and a half, maybe two.
Well, it's hard to leave. It's such a fun game. I love
I
it.
know what you
Is
mean.
there still plenty of like undone side quests and stuff, or you were leaving it because you think you've kind of done it?
Well, I was leaving it because I had done all three of the main faction in-game quests.
Okay.
And so I was just going to wait until the DLC came out and see, what kind of stuff was done. But
And you already did
there's
like
a lot I haven't done. I
go-
mean, it's hard to imagine.
get all the beer
because I've
coasters
seen
and stuff.
so many things. Yeah. So I've done all the collectibles and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one location I have not been able to make it to because I keep dying. And that's the German submarine in the Thames. So I've got to figure out how to get to that now.
So what are
that'll
the
be my next
circumstances?
question.
Why do you? Is it just
Well, because
a
you have to
difficult
jump-
location or what?
You have to jump across, these different platforms, and if you miss, if you don't quite make it, you fall in the Thames. And when you're in the Thames, you're getting at about 169 rads per second, and there's
Good
no way
Lord.
to jump back out of the water. You just there's nothing to jump from, and so you just die.
There's no banks on the river. It's just sort of like brick wall
But it's,
up.
yeah,
or
it's too
something?
far away.
Too far away.
Yeah,
What
because you've only got 2 or 3 seconds. With the
with that rate of radiation,
that
right?
radiation.
Right.
Yeah, so because I mean, you just watch your meter just go flat.
I don't know if I ever actually asked what happened to London. Was a bomb dropped? What was the?
Gosh, trying to
What was
remember
the disaster?
exactly.
If the Thames is that radiated, it had to be a ground zero site.
I mean, well, chain reaction. There may have been multiple meltdowns, like not just from the bombs dropping, but also stuff locally on site. And I think the joke is that the Thames is already, dirty, or the thing is polluted or dirty.
Yeah, okay.
And so, that was just exacerbated.
Do
Bit of
they?
a joke. They turned it down a little from the start, right? Ray, didn't they lower the rads on the Thames after the initial release?
It was 1,000 per second.
Yeah, I remember something about that, but I don't know exactly what it was. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't spend any time in that water at all.
It's bad. It's bad.
Does
Give them a foot, they take the whole leg.
Does the UK utilize nuclear power IRL?
I believe
would
they have a few
imagine.
sites still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of places around the world do.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Right?
one in Cincinnati,
I know
one
it's
in
slowed
Michigan.
down, but
And
people have
Indiana is
been-
surrounded by nuclear power plants, so if any of them happen, we're screwed too.
yeah, there are a lot of. I mean, they're aren't they coming back a little bit? I'd have to look up on new construction, but I feel like people
Mhm.
are starting to reinvest in nuclear a little bit more than they were for a while.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
because wind and solar has turned out to be such a bad deal that
Yeah, I mean, it's getting there. Solar and wind, they both have a lot of potential, but just the investment versus the return is not quite there yet, right?
well, and the environmental disaster that it takes to make them.
I don't know about solar. I haven't heard much about that yet. Although I know
Yeah, I think
one
that's the
location setting
materials.
birds on fire.
So then, cruising along one day and came across a video by Hawks Gaming, which is a YouTuber that I followed when I first started playing No Man's Sky again. He did a Starfield video on where he does a big, like really big XP farm at Bessel 3B.
That was so cool, by the way. This is such a cool experiment you're about to tell people about.
So the emphasis of this is just cranking out as many adaptive frames and ISO-centered magnets as you can, then taking them to a civilian outpost in Venus and selling them. So the reason you go to Venus is because in the civilian outposts, one particular variety has, you go into the building and there's a bar with a bartender and a stool. So you sit on the stool and talk to the bartender. You buy all of the ammo, med kits, whatever he's selling that that you want, and then you pay for it with adaptive frames and center magnets.
Right, you're just right there.
Then you wait for 2 hours. It resets their inventory, and you do it over and over again. Also in this process, become terribly over encumbered, and so in the process of making them, so you have, in order to make them, you sleep on Bessel. It fills up all your containers. You go over to the bench and you craft as many as you can. And then you go back to the bed, sleep, another 8 hours, get up, make some more. During that process, if you pick the skills of wellness, weightlifting, it's fitness. Yeah, fitness. Now, when you're running over encumbered, your health drops down to almost nothing, but never nothing. So it never kills you.
Right. You just have to, you suffer. But I found this when I was trying to do the materials XP stuff, that you'd get way low and you have to deal with like the screen doing the flashy thing unless you turn that off and such. But it's totally doable.
Right. So then you sleep, and now you've just healed X amount of health, and your wellness, goes up. If you run around a lot while you're over encumbered, your fitness, goes up because you have to use up all your oxygen. Well, you use up all the oxygen, and that's how you end up damaging yourself. So through this process, you're almost killing yourself, but you're not. You're over encumbered and you're running. So all of this stuff boosts these skills. And so by the time you're done, so you take a break at level 125.
Level 125. Keep in mind, most of the people finish the game in the 40s to 50s, maybe 60s, and never even hit level 100. I haven't hit level 100 yet.
I've never hit level. I think
these XP farms are silly.
I think my top characters are like 75, 80 at the most, because I don't do the Unity and, all that kind of stuff. But this was just hilarious.
Yeah. And people were back last fall, so a year ago, a couple months into the game, people kind of discovered Bessel 3B and Venus both have a lot of potential there because of the really quick days. You set up the resources. If you can find a vendor and do it nearby, you can get a lot of stuff. But it sounds like he got it down to a science, like with this whole plan.
Yeah. And so the goal is to leverage all of the skills, because you're getting all of these skill points.
Right.
And so then at level 125, you go do the Vanguard flight training.
Okay, finally getting some room for piloting.
So you can run all those skills up, and then you build yourself a C-class. So the emphasis is that you're always on all the extreme settings.
Right, because that increases everything.
That increases your XP, and it also makes it more challenging.
How many hours are you taking? Like, for instance, to hit level 100, how many hours was that in the first place? Because he does this to start for beginners. That's what's also neat about it. It's not like, oh, you're level 50, go do this. It's like, oh, you're early in the game. Here's what you
Yeah,
do.
no, that's. I even did a vanilla start, so that I could follow this. But yeah, I mean, as soon as you get back, as soon as you get to Constellation after the tutorial mission, which is the only place where you ever do any combat, then you go in, you do the whole Constellation thing, and then you leave, and that's where you go directly to Vessel 3B and start this.
That's awesome. So the video was published 6 days ago. It's by Hawks Gaming. That's HAWKES Space Gaming. And yeah, it's just really good. When I watched it, I didn't watch the whole thing. It's like it's over an hour long for the whole run.
Yeah.
I got 20 some minutes in, but I planned on going back to it to watch more. But like I remember people doing the Vessel 3B or Venus back in the day and finding a vendor and setting up shop, but not like this. This is just the idea of using all the new XP boosters and then using that to maximize your skills by what you're doing. That's just really smart.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so when I left at level 125, I think it was about 10 hours in, which I think is longer than he was saying it would be. But
anyone for the first time is going to be a little longer, you would think.
Because you can't just, you're stopping to thinking about things.
10 hours of pure grinding.
Yeah.
But by comparison, if you're running like the Serpentis loop for 2 hours, you're probably only gaining 5 to 8 levels. Not like this.
Yeah, this is crazy, especially at first. At the beginning, I mean, you were just screaming through the levels. It takes much longer as you get higher and higher. But so in order to combat that, you keep building the base bigger and bigger. Because one of the things you start leveling all of your settlement skills.
Right. Yeah, the outpost construction stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so now I've got these big, huge stacks of the large containers. Now I'm sleeping 12 hours, but I'm making 42,000 adaptive frames and 38,000 isocentered magnets.
That's a lot of clicking. That is a lot of clicking.
So fortunately, using Star UI,
using Star UI, which we don't have,
I can craft 999 units at a time, where in vanilla it's 99 units at a time. So that's even more grinding.
It really is. That is one thing that gets in the way on console.
So, I kept it going. I think I was at about 16 hours in, and I got to level 200.
That's just incredible. To like level 200 in 16 hours. That's unthinkable. I mean, monotonous, and you're probably not going to do it again, right? But
yeah, no, but you learn a lot, and you get all kinds of, you see all the synergies with all the different skills, and I've always been very, because I knew I was never going to have a lot of levels. I've always been very judicious about where I put my skill points.
Right.
Now there's you get a skill point, and you get a skill point, and you get a skill point.
Yeah, there's so much more time to think about it too while you're doing this. Think like kind of the same routine over and over again and grinding. You can kind of think about all those things you're doing, and it's got to be kind of eye-opening in a way. And now you have a high-level character if you didn't delete them.
Yeah, no, I haven't, but I have at least one skill point in every single skill.
Some of them would be hard to level up till you do the challenges, and you're not doing things to do the challenges, right?
Yeah. So once you, still, I mean, I think what did I've got probably at least a dozen skills maxed out now. And some of them are pretty important ones, like isolation, and because I play solo, and rejuvenation, which lets you regen health. There's all kinds of stuff going on there, and eventually you'll start unlocking combat skills. Right now, none of my combat skills have more than one skill point in them.
Right, because you haven't fought a lot.
Because I haven't fought at all.
Oh, really? Okay, you've managed to avoid that.
Yeah,
What about
no.
finding a good location in the first place? Was that difficult?
Well, no. So there is a particular location known on Vessel 3B, and Major Slack calls it Mount Nika because it's there's a mountain, and at that point you can get so nickel, iron, cobalt, and aluminum all in this one settlement location.
Perfect. Hence the name.
Yeah. And so the iron and the aluminum let you make adaptive frames, and the nickel and the cobalt let you make the isocentered magnets.
Right.
And so that's what makes it the grinding location. I don't know if there's other locations. I would imagine you could probably find somewhere else on Vessel 3B that have them together.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly finding. What I mean is the location with the vendor too.
Oh, with the vendor,
vendor outpost.
yeah, and that was kind of tricky. So so do that when you're not over encumbered,
Right. Yeah, a lot of running around.
because you have to land and find the civilian outpost. There's multiple different kinds. So I went to one, and it was full of robots that start shooting at you right away. So you got to run.
You're like, do you want to buy my adaptive frame? They did not.
And then there was a civilian outpost that the vendor is standing outside under a tent, and they don't have the inventory, and they only have like 5,000 credits.
Yeah, those roadside vendors, it's just not the same.
So you got to find this one particular kind where where they're at the bar, and just like every NPC, it won't take long. You'll be so sick of their lines because they just say them over and over and over again. Did you get lost on your way to Jemison?
Do you get to the Cloud District often? Yeah, totally.
So it was a lot of fun. It's I don't know what I'll do with it, but it's definitely the highest level character I've ever had. So,
and now you can say you did. I just
pretty wild.
thank you for following along in that experiment with us. I definitely will watch the rest of the video. Maybe fall asleep to it again, but learn those things, because I mean it sounds like a great plan. Like I said, there were components of it out there before, so this may sound like old hat to people who have tried it. But it really seems like they just kind of got everything working together with a lot of synergy in a way that really makes it faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you get any 76 in on
the
new character?
I ran some events, playing around with that, but nothing really more than that. Killed a few mole miners.
They had it coming. Did you say it was a mole miner weekend this last weekend too?
Was it?
Yeah, we had. I didn't remember hearing about the mole miners.
I think I might have played on Saturday. Yeah, I wherever I was when I launched into the game, but I heard the sound. Like, oh, dude, mole miners.
There they are, the treasure hunters. Yeah, I don't think I even mentioned. That's why I brought it up, because I don't think I even mentioned last week on Iguana Bits. Because I mean, they happen almost once a month lately. But I think if you said you were killing mole miners, that was why.
Yeah. I think I was at the White Springs.
Oh gosh, the White Spring. That Death Claw there. So sorry, we're not in my gameplay, but I've stopped by the White Spring. I went to drink from the Sulphur Spring to heal up. You know how there's that in the gazebo, there's a Sulphur Spring location. That Death Claw came out of nowhere, level 60 Death Claw. I ran for my life.
Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life.
Thank goodness for robots, but he took a few of them out. It was I think like a level 60 something alpha Death Claw.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And my little guy, Hard Knock Holmes, could not handle him. That's for sure.
Yeah, I avoided him altogether.
Smart. I was at the water fountain. I'm like, excuse me, sir, wait your turn. And he was like, rawr. Anyway, I ran.
Yeah, they're hard to make friends with. So yeah, that was the extent of it for me. A little more varied than last week, where it was only 2 games. So
very
a little more variety.
Attaboy. As for me, I've just played a little bit of 76, sort of messing
Awesome.
around doing the main quest, with the inoculation, like convincing everyone, hey, the scorched, got the shot, tag it. I just got the raiders up at the satellite to agree to get vaccinated, and I said, I don't remember them being around. Gosh, they wrote them into it. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah,
because
because the whole section there, that's part of Wastelanders. That's not part of the, Brotherhood quest. That's part of Wastelanders. But that's how we brought Crater and Foundation in, is there with kind of spreading the vaccine.
And Rose is involved with all that Raider stuff, with the David story and all that.
She gets you the meeting with Meg, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But now Rose is saying things like, I don't know. It's like the game is sort of confused. Like, I think you're supposed to have already done the main quest past Rose's part before doing this, but I haven't done that part yet.
Oh, yeah, that is an odd order of operations, because in order to talk to Rose in the first place, you have to at least start her stuff. But I guess maybe some of the writing assumes you not only started, but also did her second and third section requests. So you only did the first to get access. You didn't do the rest.
I don't even remember what I had. But I think she's like making comments on things that I should have already done, but I haven't done yet.
Oh, interesting.
But I'll pay closer attention next time I go up there. But yeah, I've been getting everybody vaccinated. I got my reputation with the Raiders has gone up a couple of times. But running around doing that. I've also looked at my cards a little bit more. I'm going to lean into Cannibal, because I've never really played with that too much. I know Ray has the Cannibal on lockdown over there, but
he doesn't have a monopoly on it though. He'll share a meal.
It's a big
maybe.
tent.
And Ghoulish, seems like a pretty cool card. I'm going to try to see if I can understand how that one works a little better. But I feel like those can go well together. I also got a quad pistol to drop. And it was a 10 millimeter, so not the best pistol, but pretty versatile and plenty of ammo around all the time for the 10 millimeter. That's for sure. There's a card that has like gives you a small chance, medium chance, large chance to automatically fill your clip again after the last bullet, and I put that on, and that's been pretty fucking great. It procs pretty frequently, so it just, and that does that pull? I still haven't actually looked at the numbers. Does that pull from your inventory, or is that like
I'm pretty sure it's from your inventory
magic?
still. So you're thinking of Quick Hands, if I remember right. Is that the name of the perk? Quick Hands?
Well,
maybe.
I don't remember.
So what that one does
exactly.
is a chance
Quick
to instantly
Hands.
reload when your clip is empty. So when you run out, instead of doing the X, it just instantly reloads.
Right.
But it still pulls from your bullets, as far as I know. Yeah.
I thought maybe they're giving me a magic
Free
clip
bullets?
of
That'd be nice.
A free clip of ammo. But yeah, I'm starting to play around more with that. I'm needing more legendary so I can understand scrapping what gives you what with the legendary effects. Like, does that matter if you have 100? Like Eric made 100 left arms of some legendary effect he wanted, so he could scrap them all
Right.
when it made
Yep,
the
100
switchover.
Sacred Service, left arms.
Is that, does scrapping the legendaries actually produce a legendary, or it's just any legendary?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
That's what we've talked about. Yeah.
Yeah,
when you scrap-
I've never gotten one yet, and it just seems so fucking rare. I know you said that's like a 1-3% breakdown.
You've never
and such,
gotten
but-
a mod box? Like if I open my inventory
No.
now, I've probably got 10 mod boxes on me.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Do you really not
God
have any?
damn. No, and like that's all I do is hop to public events to get legendary weapons to scrap and try to learn more legendaries, but no, that just doesn't happen.
Well,
Yeah,
I
well,
did a-
there's a difference. So, if you're thinking about the legendary plans, those are much rarer.
yeah, that's the 1.5% chance to learn those each time.
But
Flat.
the mod boxes, those are much more frequent.
If you're scrapping 3-star, that's a 3% chance. So it should be 1 in 30-ish.
Okay, well, I should have had about 200 of them pop off by
I
now.
mean, you might not scrap as many as you think either. Sometimes it feels
yeah,
like a
you're
lot.
right.
But,
You're right. Yeah.
but if you're just, hopping on for a day, doing some events, there's a lot of times you'll only end up with 5 to 10 legendaries over the course of a couple-hour play session.
Unless you do
Eviction notice? No, what?
Radiation Rumble, is that what that one's called?
You can get a decent number from Radiation Rumble.
Oh
I
my
sometimes
God.
can get 4 or 5 from it.
What? Is that am I saying the wrong one? I got like 30 in there the other day. I
Legendaries?
leveled up like 4 times, and I was like, holy
Oh, yeah.
shit,
I
what is
mean,
going on?
It's the best for XP for sure. But there's only a few guaranteed legendaries each time.
I pulled a ton. I don't know why, but I walked out of there with just a crap ton of legendaries.
Excellent.
I'm not complaining, I'm not complaining. Funny, not funny story. Earlier this week, I was very tired after work. Just wanted to come home and play some video games and relax a little bit. I had just gotten the new plasma pistol, which, modded up. Brought over from another character. Super fun pistol. It's like a 2-shot automatic enclave plasma thing, And so I'm relaxing, playing my video games. And then all of a sudden I, wake up about 4 hours later. And the 5,000 rounds of plasma are gone. Like, did I
what?
lean on my
you?
controller?
Were you
Or
shooting in your sleep?
could that
Were you sleep shooting?
But you would have to reload. Like, could you, I guess, lean on the shoulder and it would auto reload, I guess. If you just you don't have to release and reapply.
Did you
that?
dream about milking a cow?
Oh,
Were you like just
geez,
sitting
I
there kind
hope
of
not.
squeezing the trigger off and on?
I don't
Like,
know. Like,
occasionally that reload would proc.
but I was totally out of ammo, and I was like, that was like 4,000 or 5,000 rounds of plasma. Holy shit! And I was very upset.
Wow. I would be too. That's horrible. That is horrible.
So, what do you think? Is like, I really don't know. Like, holding the trigger down, it auto reloads, right? So it'll just empty out a clip, reload, and keep going the whole time.
It's not one of those unending legendary pistols, is it? Where you don't have to ever reload.
No, not
just
that.
shoots?
It's no. It's just the large, the quad, the large clip.
Hmm.
Or no, that's not that one. It was the Enclave Plasma, which is it's a 2-shot. I don't know, but I woke up missing a few thousand plasma rounds.
Given the work you put into craft stuff or get them,
But-
because you crafted those rather than bought for the most part, right?
I think I transferred a lot of those over from my old character when I brought the pistol over, and I just can't keep up with the sheer amount of ammo crafting you'd have to do for
And this character
for an
being a more commando, it's
automatic.
rough.
Yeah, automatic weapons
Automatic
are
pistol,
crazy.
whatever it is.
I just had no idea. So I'm buying a lot of ammo. I'm making it as much as I can. I'm finding it everywhere. Doing the attack with a different weapon and switch over to that weapon for the kill shot, so you get the reward of the ammunition without having to spend the ammunition to get it. Ugh, it's such a hassle. I work so hard to get this ammunition, you guys.
It is a hard build. Like it's effective in combat, but it's like some of our friends with their fuel.
And
people who use fuel and people who use automatic weapons, they they burn through it.
I think Commando can legitimately be a really cool build, but the pistols, I'm not sure that Gorilla is as a legit build as. Okay, because I feel like
Gorilla.
when I'm having to unload 3 clips into a super mutant, I'm like, are you kidding me? What is going on here? Like this, and then I switch over to my plasma thing, and 4 or 5 little blip shots, and he's dead. So.
Yeah, awful nice if you had some ammo for that plasma.
Fucking. You need to quit napping on the job.
But no, I mean, we've known from the beginning that pistols are pretty much the worst build in 76. And they went and they boosted them and made them more viable and people can get them to work. But I would say automatic pistols are still the worst. Like compared to regular pistols.
Then I accept thy challenge, just trying to make it work best I can. But that's pretty much my gameplay. Let's see what everyone else has been getting into.
What's up, everyone? This is Pyro Anderson. Don't worry, you'll hear from the other guy this time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, is this the one from last time?
Since the last time I sent one of these in, I had some nice guy give me a holy fire, so not only can I be a pyromaniac in the wasteland, but it'll also heal me. So, I was directed to talk to Paladin Ramani from Night Shin, and she told me about this local farm that had been dealing with some ghouls. They're held up in Lewis & Sons farming supply, and we need to talk to them about dealing with a bunch of ghouls. Seems simple enough. I deal with ghouls all the time. So I make my way over there, and there's a dog on the outside that seemed kind of nice. And I go in, and this guy has the audacity to point a gun in my face. I told him that he needs to put that gun away if he wants to keep his hand. And his wife had the audacity to tell me that she should say the same thing to me. But cooler heads prevailed, and somehow she knew that I was from the Brotherhood of Steel. So they tell me about the issue they have where this orchard that they have nearby has become infested with ghouls, and they want us to clear them out. Now, I told them that I would love a reward, because who does something for free in the wasteland? And the husband gave me some right away, big whoop. But I decided to talk to their sons also to see if they had any information. One of them was a big dumb jock, and he seems to be a Night Shin fanboy, which is all well and good. Night Shin's a great dude. But the other kid, I think his name was Colin, was kind of the opposite. Now, he may not be the biggest and strongest kid, but he does have a good set of brains in his head, and that'll get you far. So I told him to meet me at the orchard. Making our way in, there were a good set of ghouls in there, but the two of us took him out with no problem, although the whole time the kid seemed ready to piss himself. After clearing out those ghouls, including one glowing one that was a little tough, we both made our way up to Fort Atlas, and Paladin Ramani was talking to Night Shin about some missing weapons. She congratulated me on the mission and said that I might have found a good scribe if Colin makes his way through basic training. Turns out Shin has a bit of a history with raiders. I guess when he was younger, some raiders destroyed his settlement, and that was when he was recruited by the Brotherhood of Steel. But they confiscated some weapons that had been lost after this battle. And guess who's tasked with tracking them down? So I made my way to the retreat, which I think at one point was called Treetops, and they have been dealing with this group of raiders who's led by this woman named Dagger. That's a hell of a name. They want me to go kill them. Fine by me. So I make my way over to where they're holed up in this cave. On my way there, though, I encountered this Mirelurk queen who was somehow hiding in this puddle. I walked into it because I saw a med pack that I thought might have a stim pack in there, but I found a Mirelurk queen instead, so I wasn't about to take that on, so I hauled ass away from it. Once I got there, I was greeted by a ton of raiders, but I took them out. Made my way into the cave and had a little conversation with Dagger, and she asked what I would give her in return for the weapons. I tried to make a pass at her, and I think that caught her off guard. If this were any other situation, she might have been into me, but I ended up having to kill her and her 2 lieutenants. So I grabbed the weapons and the retreat supplies, made my way back to the retreat. Only gave them the supplies because these are Brotherhood weapons. They shouldn't be going around with big miniguns. I got enough dealing with those raiders that have those. I don't want some settlement having equipment like this either. And I have been promoted to interim initiate, whatever the hell that means. But that about does it for now. So, hey, why don't you come wrap this up? I gotta go take care of something. Dawson Dagger. That's disgusting, but yes, sure. So, yeah, that Mirelurk queen completely caught me off guard. I have been streaming the quests, so you can check those out. Been doing them every other week, and yeah, I was running around in the mire and was not expecting a giant Mirelurk queen to come out of a little puddle, but I guess, we've had Swan in the past. By the way, also, I can't remember who it was that was talking about fall damage being a thing. Yeah, the one time that I died was because of fall damage. I fell into the retreat off of a cliff. Yeah, I was very lucky because I was very low on ammo. So I actually ran out of ammo in Dagger's den. But I killed her lieutenant, and he had a giant 50 cal machine gun that I was able to take everybody else out with. I've never used a 50 cal gun before.
They're so big.
So yeah, it's been fun. But I will wrap this up now. So anyway, I will see everybody in the wasteland.
Thank you, good sir.
The audacity of those Putnams, huh?
And the audacity of a crab to pop out of a puddle. But I do have a problem with the whole, she might have been into me. I made a pass at her. It didn't work out, so I had to kill her.
Pyro, he's
That is no way to have a relationship and conduct yourself like an adult in a modern society.
Solior is clear to make sure to mention that she shot first. that if she hadn't done that, he might not have gotten so violent. But yeah, it's funny. I mentioned in chat that I really work in that low charisma tonight with some of the commentary on the characters. But it's Sean says challenge accepted too for Stratoblaster. They are both playing their characters with one charisma in very different ways, and I like that. I like the idea that we can take a single stat and do it in a very diverse fashion.
Absolutely. All right.
Pyro?
Thank you, good sir. Good Pyro.
Yeah, that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I like the way he tackled everything, and I like that he's a bit of a Shin is a good dude. Shin's a bit of a role model until Shin starts to bust his ass, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna
the tune will change. All right, let's see what Vanessa's been up to.
Hi everyone, it's Vanessa here with an update on my Roundtable character, Mr. Sophie. I'm just going to call him Jim for now, because he probably needs a first name really, so that's what we'll go with. The Paladin Romani had given Jim a quest to eradicate a pack of ghouls causing problems back in the forest. Accepting the quest with a cheery, "Yes, boss," was frowned upon by the Paladins, a breach of protocol. He traipsed halfway across the wasteland to a former farm supply shop now owned by the Putnam family. Unlike almost everyone else he'd come across, they didn't seem to appreciate strangers barging into their home, although mention of the Brotherhood caused them to lower their guns, and they explained their belief that the ghoul infestation was originating from an old orchard further north. The 2 sons of the family expressed an interest in joining the Brotherhood, but Jim was neither babysitter nor recruiter, and he made his way alone to the orchard. A few Mr. Farmhands were floating around the place, which made him uneasy, but eventually he found the stairs that led to an underground bunker, and quite a plush one at that, or at least it would have been back in the day. As expected, the place was overrun with ghouls, which made for quite slow progress as he picked them off a couple at a time before retreating back to the entryway until they calmed down. His aim was not all it might be with faster-moving targets, and he didn't trust himself not to get overrun if taking a more reckless approach. Anyway, job done, and after a quick snack of feral ghoul, he returns to the Paladin, only to be sent straight back out into the field, albeit now as a probationary initiate of the Brotherhood. This time he must head down south to somewhere called the Retreat, where there are problems with the local gang and their leader Dagger. Raiders do love a dramatic name. The person who seems to be in charge at the Retreat, Jenny Brown, hits on him quite unsubtly, despite the fact that he's currently wearing a gas mask. But he's all business, a man on a mission. Few of the residents tell their story of the problems with the nearby Blood Eagle gang, but none of them have anything particularly helpful to add, so he makes his way to their base of operations, which is very well manned and well armed, but a bit of sneaking around reveals a few vantage points for picking them off one at a time. Outside area cleared, he finds a door leading underground. After taking care of more of the Blood Eagles, he comes upon a power armour-wearing lieutenant, and is forced to beat a hasty retreat. Regrouping, he sneaks back along the wooden platform and throws down a couple of frag mines, which softens his enemy up so that he can be finished with a few rifle shots. He enters an area described as the throne room, Raider theatrics again, and Dagger congratulates him on wiping out most of her foot soldiers, but is in no mood to return either the stolen supplies or the BOS weapon cache that she has somehow intercepted, and threatens to kill him if he tries taking them by force. The problem with issuing death threats while posturing on your throne is that by the time you've stood up and readied a weapon, the intended victim has already taken 2 headshots. Too bad that Dagger wouldn't be able to put this handy life lesson to good use in the future. A few stragglers are taken care of, and Jim finally gives in to his growing hunger to eat human flesh. It's unfortunately delicious. He'd half hoped that it would be disgusting enough to curb his bizarre cravings. Backing away hastily from the scene of his depravity, he's soon at the Retreat again with their supplies and making the executive decision to give them a weapon from the BOS cache. Romani is happy with this decision, but Knight Shin is less so, and there's some cryptic talk about Shin and Raiders, but that's not a problem he wants to get involved in right now. He spends the rest of his week meeting up with his fellow Vault Dwellers in some kind of flash mob, whereby they guard vats of moonshine or deal with an arena of robots and other such tasks. The other Vault Dwellers are decked out in power armour and armed to the teeth with flashy energy weapons. He has a rifle made from the handle of a shovel, which makes him wonder just how long he overslept before leaving the vault to be so far behind everyone else. While he's in the mood for mixing with the Vault Dwellers, he heads over to Sutton to finally visit the Overseer. She suggests he should get himself vaccinated against the Scorched Plague, but first he goes up to Morgantown to see if he can't ingratiate himself further with the responders. A holotape there also mentions the importance of a vaccine, so that's what he does next. So, yep, that's where I've got to. I've levelled up pretty fast thanks to the events. I got to sort of between 30 to 40 in no time, really. Since last time, I've picked up a couple more of my assigned perks, Sniper and Ammo Smith, so I've had to make some ammo for the handmade rifle after the events cleared me out, so that one's paid off already. I've moved my camp to its assigned spot in the Savage Divide, but the very next time I went back to it there was 2 level 50 rad scorpions tearing it to pieces. Well, I say that and it's a little bit dramatic, there was hardly anything in it to tear to pieces. But yeah, I'm nowhere near that level, so I'm not sure where they came from, but they promptly killed me as well. So I've kept the camp, but decided to coin a Fallout 4 quest name, Better Living Underground, so I've gone and got myself a Fallout shelter, TM, and moved everything down there. So yeah, that's where I've got to. Take care, everyone. I'll see you in the wasteland. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And we just got news that she'll be joining us on the show again here in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to getting her back on the show again.
That's awesome that Mr. Sophie is now Jim. It's like
Jim,
much easier to say.
I gotta give him a name. I like she's leaning into the cannibal thing. How many of us are leaning into this whole cannibal thing now? Seems to be the latest fad. Let's do it. We just like a whole let's form a horde, you guys. Right? We're just a
Some
zombie
people have been
cannibal
holding
horde.
it down for years. A horde. You guys, I really like the way she talked about it though. Like I could see Ray smiling during that too. But the whole, the taste of the flesh hoped it would be horrible, but it was actually delicious.
Yeah, I
Backing
liked
away
that
from the
too.
scene of his depravity. Like that was poetic and eloquent. I liked it, Vanessa.
Very well done.
Also, I
Yes.
think it's good to mention again, it's still her first 76 playthrough. So learning all these new
I
things.
had forgotten that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting the overseer, starting to do that quest line for the first
good
time.
Lord.
Do you remember when we first got the vault? So the shelters we've only had for 3 years now. Being able to build a shelter. I guess 3.5 technically. But the whole quest that pops up, I think, does it not pop up till you're level 10 maybe, or is it 20 to go up north by the vault 51 and find
I don't think you have to do that anymore.
Wait, do you just get the ability to build without going up there to claim it?
Yeah, because I noticed that there was a daily, to visit your
shelter
5 times.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to go up there and do that.
Right.
But I went to my build menu for something else and saw, it said shelters. So I'm like, wait a minute.
And
So
was the utility shelter in there?
And so there was just this little generic, the one that has the little square hatch that you go into.
Yeah. So, because obviously you can get them from the atomic shop, but the one you got from that quest was the utility or maintenance cellar one. That's just you go down, there's the hallway and the one room, like the little foyer and the one room. So you got that one. Neat.
Yeah. And so
that's odd they don't make you do it anymore.
In and out 5 times and I was done.
There is it's funny to think about because there are so many early quests now that pop up. Like I've mentioned before how I feel it's a little bit overwhelming for new players. All these miscellaneous quests to pop and all these things to start. It's like when you exit the vault with all DLC in Fallout 4 or in Fallout 3 and just like radio signal found, new thing found. And yet 76 has that like times 4 with the number of things that can start at this point.
Well, and it's every I hadn't gone in and turned everything off.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, doing that every single time I loaded into the game.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I only have main and side active when started. Everything else, end event. But dailies and stuff are definitely not.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Let's go ahead and wait. Who's next, Jess, on the list there?
I believe it's Lee.
Lee.
That's what I like to hear.
Episode 2, Toehold in the Lion's Den. While walking across the observation dome, Toe reflected on the day so far and imagined the potential of being able to work with an organization where a prior military experience would be useful for more than just survival, where she could contribute to the restoration of the world. Approaching Paladin Romani, Toe notes that she is a trim officer with dark hair and complexion, perhaps Italian in ancestry. Romani confirmed that both Knight Shen and Scribe Valdez recommended Toe as an initiate candidate. The Paladin went on to say that she wanted to see how Toe worked without supervision and assigned her to take out a nest of ghouls which has been harassing a local farm. The Putnams, down south, past the Nuka-Cola plant, on the North Fork of the river. Coming away from the farm, the sign read Lewis & Sons Farming. As there was no one outside, Toe approached the smaller of the barn doors. She noted the crops of mute fruits, corn, potatoes, and gourds, and a foul smell in the air. Both the handy farming robot and the dog ignored her. Carol Putnam was the clear leader. The attacks came from the highway toward Flatwoods, but they suspect the Orwell Orchard as the source. Her sons were enthusiastic about the Brotherhood and were interested in joining them in their quest. Toe didn't consider it her job to recruit them, but told them she would pass their enthusiasm up the chain of command. After confirming that they would likely be safe, Miss Putnam also warned her about the ghouls' tendency to mob lone wanderers, a tendency Toe herself had noticed. Toe headed out northeast cross country. She soon came upon evidence of the Putnams' ability to defend themselves when she found a fire pit full of ghoul corpses being burned. It explained the foul smell, at least. At the top of the first ridge, she came to a summer camp, Camp Adams, and its fire tower, or lookout. At the top of the tower was a scavenger singing the praises of the foundation settlement. There was also a good view of the orchard to the northeast, but Tow couldn't tell much about it from this distance. She passed through the grounds of the giant teapot, which on this day featured blood bugs and giant ticks. She then joined Highway 59 and headed north. Coming into Orwell Orchards, Tow found the expected farming robots with their penchant for finding fertilizer by whatever means necessary, including culling humans. These were overly fond of exploding when damaged, so she tried to keep her distance from them when disposing of them. She didn't find any ghouls until she found the Orwell's basement fallout shelter. Based on notes and terminals, Ian and Cheryl's farm was failing. They won the Appalachian Lottery and the Great War happened. Apparently their luck went from bad to worse. After many years, Cheryl wanted to check on the world outside. Ian snapped and locked her in their security room. Cheryl eventually hacked open the door and had to forcibly get the shelter key from Ian. He didn't survive, and she left. Tow hoped that the ghouls came after that and that Cheryl wasn't one of them. Leaving the basement, Tow found there were more robots. Taking out 2 in the kitchen, 2 more spotted her. She checked a couple of grenades and they scattered. She took out the first in the kitchen just as the second arrived. Tow dove down the stairs to the basement, barely evading the explosion of the first handy, which handily took out the second one. Returning to Fort Atlas, Romani was quite pleased with the results of Tow's first mission and immediately confirmed Tow's place in the Brotherhood as a full initiate. Romani then told her that something had come up, so there would be no formal ceremony, and as soon as Initiate Tow had a chance to clean up and rest, she should return for her next assignment. While returning to her camp from Fort Atlas, Tow was comfortable enough that she decided to listen to the radio broadcast from the Overseer and diverted to Sutton. Clearing the town of Scorched and not finding the Overseer, she made her way to the top of the hill and the large white house. She found the garage with the workbenches and knew she had found at least a dweller, and when she entered the house, there was the Overseer, quietly watching a slideshow of life before the war. What ensued was complicated by Tow's anger about Vault-Tec's deception about the dwellers being released individually. The confrontation ended with the Overseer expertly peeling Tow off the ceiling. Once Tow had calmed down, the Overseer was able to present her own version of leaving the vault. Vault-Tec had given her a special mission of securing the nuclear launch sites in Appalachia. Knowing this would be a big task, she decided to recon the area herself, then report back what she had found to the Vault 76 residents, who by then would surely have started setting up their own settlement outside of Vault 76. She didn't know that her people weren't going to be released, per the plan, as we were all told. The Overseer finally learned of the deception from the dwellers who had sought her out in Sutton. Vault-Tec's deception was ruthless and total. Now all one could do is deal with the situation, each in their own way. The Overseer's way of coping was to press her new agenda of getting her people, and all the newcomers, protected from the scorched plague. Tow told the Overseer she would think about it. Reporting back to Paladin Romani, Tow is told of a Blood Eagle incursion into a local settlement and ordered to find Jenny Brown at the treehouse town called The Retreat. Tow departed. When she got there, Miss Brown told Tow, in her soft southern drawl, about a local Blood Eagle leader named Dagger, who has been harassing the settlement lately, and suggested she learn more from her people. Talking to the others, she learned the general location of Dagger's camp, an approximate number of her troops, and that they were all well armed with rocket launchers. Tow found the Blood Eagle camp. From the start, no one wanted to talk to her, so she slowly, methodically used the cover afforded by the trees and their defenses to eliminate the guards, one by one. No rocket launchers in sight. Inside the camp, she found a door set into a cliff face and found the extensive tunnel system within. She found more guards, which were no better tactically than their brethren above ground. One of them did have a missile launcher and a crude set of Raider-style power armor. But again, superior tactics and some grenades won the day. On that guard she found a key marked Throne Room. It had apparently been their last defense before the inner sanctum. Inside she ran into several guards with automatic scattered laser rifles, and even a couple with rocket launchers, including Dagger herself. Once the guards were gone, Dagger foolishly made her last stand at her crude throne and fell to Toe the Tactician. Searching the throne room, Toe found the settlers' stolen supplies, and as a bonus, a cache of Brotherhood of Steel weapons, including more missile launchers. After returning the retreat's supplies to them, Toe returned to Fort Atlas to report in. She had to wait for Shen to finish his report of his squad finding Brotherhood weapons crates in the possession of a raider group. When prompted to give her report, she told of the successful completion of her mission with the elimination of the Dagger Blood Eagles group and return of the supplies to the settlers. She then reported finding a Brotherhood supply crate in the Blood Eagle's nest and her returning it to Fort Atlas. Romani and Shen dismissed Initiate Toe and continued to discuss a strategy to determine the source of the Brotherhood supplies, which in fact had been taken from them on their way to Appalachia.
So we're plugging in this leak. The Raiders stole our stuff on our way here. It just seems like they're not keeping very good track of anything anyway, but it's also impressive that they were on their way to Appalachia. They got robbed, and those weapons showed up at the same place that they were going to.
Yeah, because I mean, it happened en route, and apparently they had a very large cache. If they were able to spread far and wide, like it's not just a shipment or two, they were apparently bringing a convoy of weapons from the sound of it.
And it also seems like they had no idea, like how many, like they're just not keeping very good track of their stock. Their armory is not well maintained or kept or logged.
I mean, I think that it's not like that necessarily, but say they lost 30 rocket launchers, and now a couple have shown up locally. Like that seems reasonable. I mean, it's still a lot. It's still a ton. Like, why would they have 30? Why would they not have 2 or 3? But they were setting up a whole supply. I mean, we're going to, in the story, find out that this is the source of a lot of the friction between Shin and Romani in the first place, on top of other orders and such.
Yeah.
It's funny, I have to tell you, it hasn't come up yet, but because a lot of this is in the Modus files, written into the Modus files, some of the story and the evolution here, I actually have some plot points in my head that don't actually happen. So I have to remember, we've expanded on the game. It's not all just the game. So playing through is a good reminder of what is literally in the story or not.
You're going to be talking about it and people are going to go, what? That didn't happen.
Jess is playing a modded version.
It is. I mean, considering the story of, Modus Files, not to dwell on it, but I mean, it's mostly about the Enclave, but certainly the Brotherhood has come into the story over the last season a good bit. And so that's added to it for sure.
Very fun. All right. Well, good job, Lee. Thank you so much, sir. Let's check in with our good buddy Will, see what Will has been up to.
Everyone, Will here to talk about Danger. I did miss the last feedback. I meant to finish and record those the Thursday before the episode, but I forgot about a little thing called Thanksgiving, so sorry about that. Anyways, Danger has been out and about in Appalachia, where he randomly found himself at Fort Atlas talking to a very friendly guy named Russell Dorsey, who directs him inside to talk to Knight Shin, another just really cool guy to Danger. So he helps him out with some menial tasks. Afterwards is sent to Scribe Valdez, a lovely lady who needed his help with what turned out to be some very dangerous activities on the lower floors, which that's exactly what Danger feels like he's born to do. It's just do these dangerous, hard tasks people need. She's appreciative, sends him to Paladin Romani, another wonderful lady who asks him if he wants to join the Brotherhood of Steel. He's not really there to join the Brotherhood, he's just there to help people, but yeah, sure, why not? I'll join the Brotherhood, he thinks. But first he has to prove himself by handling a ghoul problem. Danger thinks, well, okay, if ghouls need clearing out, ghouls need clearing out. I did look at the map there. I've been walking most places, but it looked like a pretty long walk, so I fast traveled to the Vault 76 and then walked down to Lewis and Sons, where Danger met the Putnam family, another just delightful family in his opinion, who talked to him about the ghouls that are coming from a place called Orwell Orchards. I did see there were some quest markers at that point to recruit Colin or Marty, their two sons, into the Brotherhood. Danger was not thinking he wanted to expose them to too much danger or whatever just yet, and thought he would go talk to them after he cleaned out the ghoul situation. So he heads over to Orwell Orchards, where he's attacked by a bunch of gutsies outside. He's been using a 2-shot gamma gun. He blows himself up with that. Apparently there's an explosive effect on that, much like other things, and he got too close and it blew him up. But he found the bomb shelter and goes inside, where I thought this fight was going to be a little tougher because using the gamma gun, and of course ghouls are immune to radiation, but I guess there was enough ballistic damage involved that wasn't really the problem. The problem was, again, blowing himself up with the explosions. I looked up, apparently friendly fire does not work with the gamma gun for saving your life because it's considered radiation explosive rather than ballistic explosion, and so I'm going to have to manage that, figure something else out, or be more careful. So Danger goes over to back to the Putnams, where that's when I discovered that he can no longer recruit Colin or Marty. Sort of missed that opportunity. It does let him talk to them, like, "Oh, do you still want to join the Brotherhood?" Still, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I wish I could. I wish you would have selected me." And they're a little bummed, but that happened, and neither one of them get to be in the Brotherhood. So again, I fast travel all the way back to Fort Atlas, where Paladin Romani confers upon Danger the status of probationary initiate in the Brotherhood of Steel, but that the official initiation would have to wait, which I thought that was a little curious, because then she said, "You can go do whatever you need first, whatever, and go back to my camp and all that stuff, but no time for an initiation." Anyways, it's a classic settlement needs our help. Some lady named Jenny Brown that runs a village up in the treetops, like a bunch of tree houses, is having some problems. So Danger walks over there to the retreat, talks to Jenny Brown. He thinks she's a very kind and polite lady. She explains that blood eagles have been extorting them and stealing their supplies, and encourages him to talk around and talk with the residents to see if he can learn anything more. He does that and concludes that it's an amazing village filled with great people, and he has a lot of respect for them, and of course he's going to help them. So he walks southwest towards Dagger's den, where again using that gamma gun, just kills everyone outside, and then when he finds the den, goes inside, kills everyone again, dies once again to blowing himself up. And another time, right before he enters the throne room, one of the legend is lieutenant in power armor spawns, like literally just like 1 foot in front of him all of a sudden, and shoots him with like a missile launcher or something. But Danger goes in the throne room, where Dagger thought he was there about a BOS box of supplies. And Dagger's like, "Well, no, but if you have Brotherhood of Steel supplies, I'll be needing those too." And explains that really he's just there to get the supplies back for the retreat. There's a little bit of back and forth where Dagger acts like she's going to have to kill Danger. There's a speech check here with strength. Danger's thinking there is, while one of the villagers had said, "If you see Dagger, kill her before everything she's done," and all this. But when he had first gotten to the retreat, he mentioned to Jenny that he was an exterminator there to handle her raider problem, and she had said, "Oh well, I was hoping to handle this without violence." So that's going through his head. And then, truth be told, he actually thinks Dagger is cool. He sort of likes her swagger. So he tells her, "Look, I killed everyone outside and then everyone inside. I could just kill you too." So Dagger's like, "Well, shit. There's nothing I value more than my life. Here's the key." And that was that. A little bit anticlimactic. Danger leaves, brings the supplies back to Jenny, giving her one of the Brotherhood of Steel weapons, and then heads back to Fort Atlas, where Shin and Romani are in some sort of deep discussion about some other missing supplies, mentioning something about the Crater Raiders, and also a little curious remark that they keep hushed about an incident. Danger tells him he was able to persuade Dagger to give back the supplies. Shin is suspicious. Danger's like, yeah, I guess maybe he should be suspicious. But Romani defends him, remarking that Danger hasn't done anything to deserve a suspicion, and that a resolution without bloodshed is an ideal one. Then, when Danger told them that he gave one of the weapons from the Brotherhood to Jenny, Shin got even a little bit more concerned about that. Because then it comes out that apparently weapons are all over the place, and then this just makes it worse. But again, Romani defends him, and also Danger thinks, well, yeah, if there's more weapons all over the place, that just proves that they needed the weapon even more. But Shin is a little skeptical and reiterates that they need to get their supplies back from the raiders because they have an entire cache. And that ends the quests. At the end, Danger hits rank 30. He did take his assigned carve Animal Friend then, despite a lot of other more desirable ones being taken. Modern Renegade, another one of his assignments, is maxed out. That's been working very well, especially with the Gamma Gun. One of the problems with it is I don't necessarily know when people are dead because of the explosions, and I'm not using VAT, so I can't quite tell if people are down or not. The screen is a little obscured. I do agree with Andrew about the reloading with the pistols there in automatic, not having enough rounds, so it's only 8 rounds. But for the most part, he's doing good. So Dry Nurse, I haven't been able to get yet, which I don't know how that one's going to work out. Ghoulish hasn't been available. Barbarian, he has maxed out. He is using Picklock, unlocking all the things that he does, despite, I remember when I first started playing 76, I learned very quickly I wasn't wasting my time with any of the locks in this game. I do have a camp in the Savage Divide as assigned, but I did not build one at my assigned resource yet. Haven't found it. I did commit a no-no with the legendary perks, but I corrected it. The way I play it, like, I don't love all the legendary perks, so I just use all the specials and use the legendary. So, which means I accidentally put 2 into intelligence when I was supposed to put 1. But I swapped it out with survival syringe after hearing Ray saying it was a no-no. And I actually do like it. It works great with rejuvenated, and I'm always getting that well-fed, hydrated bonus.
Always pair those two.
I don't know if I'm going to keep it because my playstyle is such that everyone knows I'm always taking soup and stuff, so I'm sort of hydrated and whatnot anyway. So I may swap it out, but it is always nice that I can just pop those. They seem to, even at the lowest rank, just keep spawning in my inventory. I do have another question about the intelligence of 1. Is it allowed that I use the little perk loadout machine to swap a few points into intelligence when I'm at my camp, just so I can modify armor and do some camp crafting, things like that? If not, I will abide by whatever Ray says. So, see you in the wasteland.
He knows we're too nice, Ray. That's why he wants to abide by whatever you say. Not that you're not nice.
Since I don't really do any camp building, I've never really pondered this question. So,
and I mean, he's talking about being able to modify his weapons, because almost all the weapon mod cards, to mod are in intelligence.
Sure, yeah.
And so how is he going to level them up if he only got intelligence of 1? Because that is Danger, for those who don't know, has an intelligence 1 and a charisma 15. So he kind of likes everybody. He can charm everybody he meets, but he's dumb as a stump.
So basically the question is he allowed to have a different loadout for home and one for out adventuring?
Just for modding weapons.
We are rolling our characters, right? But is that for all? Is that for a suggestion? Is that our steadfast rules, Ray? How do you rule, Ray?
So in the strictest sense of the words, the role play, if you're intelligence 1, you're intelligence 1.
Yeah.
But rule number 1 is have fun.
Right. They are kind of in conflict there. Although, to be fair, it can be fun to, because if this was any game but 76, which obviously 76 is what we're playing, but any others, you're not going to be changing your special.
Yeah, you wouldn't
so you would
able
have to,
in the first place, yeah.
Right, you'd have to go to the train stations and buy mods, or go by people's camps and maybe buy modded version or have the modded version fall into your lap.
Yeah.
But if it was Fallout 4, you could pull one off and put one on, and you're not doing that in 76. Like, there's all these different contradictions. So
Yeah.
That never even crossed my mind. Now we're going to have to, in the character generator for 76, add a second a special loadout and the legendary perks up top, right?
legendary perks, maybe. Although, a lot of people won't have those. Like, it all depends how long you've played and what level you've gotten to, etc. But yeah, I'm with Ray that rule number one is have fun. So make up your mind. But I get what you're saying, Ray, that it could still be fun. To abide by the rules strictly.
Yeah.
I'm not switching my perks. I haven't yet. As I'm leveling to the level once I hit 25 and restart it.
So how annoying is that then? Does he then have to just go find mods from vendors to put on his weapons then? Is that how they have to do that?
Find, drop, or buy, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because one of the big challenges with a low intelligence character also is that you're not, you don't have those perk cards that keep your stuff from breaking all the time. And you also don't, isn't the, maybe those are in luck. Is the skill that makeshift warrior, I think, or
so there are two. Those ones are in intelligence. So the ones that let you craft more also make them break slower. But in luck, there are the ones where there's a chance that damage will repair the weapon or armor instead of damaging it. Like luck of the draw, I think it's called, and something else for the armor. Lucky break, maybe. Yep. But yeah, so I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But if he wants to go with it, he can. I'm not planning on changing mine, but there is some suffering because of it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, we're not one of the biggest things is we're just not into rules.
Right, it's fair. Like that's totally fair. We're a loner Dottie, a rebel.
I don't understand. You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner Dottie, a rebel.
But yeah, like I have the one agility. So like I'm following the rules of I'm not taking the legendary to add agility, but at the same time, I do think in camp I could see myself changing it in order to mount home defense, because I believe that's under intelligence, in order to build something and then put it back, which maybe I shouldn't, but I feel like I probably will when the time comes. Which hopefully I'll be building my camp next week, claiming it up there in the Toxic Valley. But yeah, that was some great feedback. I'm glad we caught up with Danger. I really like the character. Will and Lee both focused a lot on the story and what they're getting up to out there. I told Lee in chat while Will was talking too, that I like the way that he's grounding it in Appalachia, like not just the story of the assigned quests, but also how the characters, because these are new low-level characters, like what else they're doing. So we got some of that from Vanessa, we got some of that from Lee, and now from Will. And I think that's cool too. As long as it doesn't take too long, it's a good color to know how the character's acting.
Absolutely. And last but not least, for our feedback participants tonight, we have our good buddy Pip-Boy Steve, who has some updating on our 76 generator to do, it sounds like.
Your Pip-Boy Steve here with my feedback for Wilson Phillips. I ended up getting her up to 20. It wasn't that difficult once I focused on it. And I went just going around doing responder quests, but then I got distracted with other side quests in the forest. I decided not to fast travel for a while. It was good to run and explore quiet areas. I tuned out the world events and just went through some areas I hadn't been through in a while, and some that didn't seem familiar at all. And then once I did hit 20, I decided to go follow up on this Brotherhood quest and tried to head out to the Savage Divide. I ended up heading up through Sutton and then to Helvetia and then up Bolton Greens, taking out some Scorched along the way there, then through Mana and up to Sunny Top Station. So without fast travel, you kind of gotta go a long ways out of the way sometimes to get somewhere. And it's funny that the Raiders haven't retaken Sunnytop Station, populated it with NPCs after Wastelanders, because it just seems like a place that they would work out well. And way down south I headed down south on the train track, and just when I was inside of the Brotherhood base at Atlas, I ran into the Smiling Man, and that's a creepy encounter. It's kind of fun. I ended up just going pretty straight with the Brotherhood through the quest there, being a good aspirant, and I was looking around for a vendor at Atlas, but I don't see a vendor. Maybe that comes later on. Maybe that unlocks later. I wanted to buy a Brotherhood outfit, but I guess I'll have to wait on that. So they sent me back out to go talk to a family in the forest, and I headed south this time from Atlas, heading towards the ski resort and such down the train track, and went at the top of the world. And then I went through the Greenbrier and snuck through there, avoiding ghouls, stopped and had a drink at the water fountain to clear my any infections I had, and just making sure I avoided ghouls. I didn't want to attract a pack. I'm low level, I can't take on very much, and so I get clear of the golf course, and I had a sigh of relief just to be attacked by a scorch beast, flapping around in the air. And I said, oh crap. So I started running up a hill, and then all of a sudden I have a Mothman on me doing the thing, and so then the scorch beast is still taking shots in my direction, and it was wild. I did escape. I didn't die there. I ended up jumping down a couple of cliffs kind of in a hurry, and I'm reminded again that I am not on my main character, and I do not have a jetpack to soften my jumps, and so yeah, just gotta be careful with those jumps. And I was so good at sneaking through the Greenbrier, I didn't even discover the location, so I couldn't fast travel to it anyways, even if I wanted to. I made it to the farm in the forest, and I spoke with that family, and you get to choose to recruit one of the brothers. I would normally choose the smart seeming one because he could deal with the science, Brotherhood research stuff, but maybe the Brotherhood doesn't need the smart people right now. Maybe they need the muscle right now. So all the better, because I only have a 1 intelligence. And so I recruited the stronger brother. Well, it didn't turn out to be too strong, but he will make good fodder. And I picked up, and we went and did that. And so we're headed back to the base with him. Along the way, I did find a random government requisition tape, but I decided not to follow up on that because I have a long way to run. But I did find a tape at a water plant that it even says that it includes scientific information that the Brotherhood was looking for. It's from a responder doing some experiments, and they even said so it should get me in good with the Brotherhood when I turn in that tape. It's not actually going to do anything. That's just roleplay stuff. And made my way slowly back to Atlas. Still no fast travel. It's fun to go old school, and then headed east into the mire at Supply and Demand. And so I wiped out the Blood Eagles. It's a fun fight when you get to a dungeon and the big boss wants to talk to you before the fight. Anyway, I did all that, and I made it out. Took a pick in the throne, as you do, and returned the supplies, but didn't give Treetop a weapon. Made it back to Atlas, and I died a few times along the way to some floaters. Having fun, enjoying it, and thanks everybody. I will see you in the wasteland.
Give them a weapon, right? Do you? He didn't.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Give those poor people a weapon.
Yeah, no, I mean, my main character did. Jess, my real character, did. But for this one, Holmes didn't. It's
I put out an eye.
Yeah, exactly. You shoot your eye out, kid. It's such it's a bit of a conundrum. It makes sense that maybe you can trust them, but this is a high-powered ordnance that the Brotherhood's just laying around. Except at that point, you don't really know that. Like, at the point you're making this choice, you don't kind of know the whole history behind it. So it is reasonable to think, hey, these nice people should be able to defend themselves. But if you've taken out the Raiders completely, why should they have them necessarily? You might want to bring the Brotherhood property to them, back to them. Anyway, that was my logic.
I hear you. All right, that's our feedback for tonight. Thank you, everybody. If you'd like to hop on our feedback train, head on over to asapodcasting.com, click on the Fallout feed section, dial up that Fallout 76 character generator, and then you can start playing along with us. Send us your 5-minute feedback to the Fallout feed at gmail.com, and we look forward to hearing about your adventures, everybody.
Absolutely. We're getting into new territory here. Pretty soon we're going to get to adventures you guys haven't even done yet.
Ooh.
Kind of like Ray doing a scoreboard again. New things.
Excellent.
Right. Oh, one other comment that I wanted to call out that I had wrote down earlier and didn't mention. When Vanessa mentioned Raiders do love a theatrical name, they really do. They really do. They all
Dagger.
I mean, I guess if you're picking your own name, might as well make it memorable. But
make it cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, everybody. Coming up, we've got some Fallout Terminal Velocity. Let's check in again with Solior.
Hello, fellow Wastelanders. Eric, a.k.a. Solior here, and I am here with another Terminal Velocity. I thought it'd be interesting to go check out the terminals in the Tenpenny Tower area of Fallout 3. I thought there'd be a ton of good information there, like hopefully some really interesting things from Tenpenny himself, but unfortunately that's not really the case. The only terminal that I found that really had any information on it was one of Herbert Daring Dashwood. So let's see what Mr. Dashwood has to say here. And I will say that he does say a lot, so be prepared. I guess you kind of have to expect that with all of the different adventures that he had over the years. So this first one is a bunch of people that he's got entries on. So let's start with King Crag. Good old King Craggy, king of Rockopolis. He offered Argyle and me shelter back in the summer of 48. Unfortunately, there was a little incident with his daughter and we were exiled. We sought shelter again a couple of years later, but Craggy didn't take kindly to us luring the slavers into his hidden underground city. This was the last time I ever saw Argyle, right after he saved my hide for the 100th time. Next up is an entry for Miss Penelope Chase, and Mr. Dashwood here says, Miss Penelope Chase, two-timey bitch, she got what she deserved. Really interested in the story about what happened with her. Next up is Destiny Chow. My dearest Destiny, harlot par excellence and the proprietor of the Blue Destiny brothel. One of the loveliest women I have ever had the pleasure. Sadly, she died from cholera in the summer of 49. An event that closed down the brothel forever. I guess Herbert Daring Dashwood got around a little bit. Next up is good old Argyle. So with Argyle, he says that Argyle is the best manservant a guy could ask for. Tough, loyal, and a hell of a good friend, even if he did smell like a bag of rotten meat, but what's a ghoul to do? The last time I saw Argyle was in Rockopolis decades ago. I know he's still out there somewhere. And you actually can find his body. I can't remember exactly where it is, but yeah, you can find him out there. And finally, as far as people go, there's Harmon Jurley. That was a little difficult to say. And it says here he's a slaver, psychotic cannibal, circa 2250. See entry on Paradise Falls. Speaking of Paradise Falls, let's move on to places. So it says Paradise Falls is the most dangerous dump in the capital wasteland. The slavers there would have bought and sold anything with a pulse. They still will, from what I hear. Back in my day, they were more disorganized, though. Their leader was a guy named Harmon Jurley, a psychotic son of a bitch who is rumored to eat the slaves he couldn't sell. All right, I mentioned Rockopolis earlier, so here is an entry on Rockopolis. So it says it's an underground city. Not a bad accomplishment, all things considered, but their leader, King Crag, became too isolationist for his own good. Okay, so I accidentally led slavers there, and those bastards cleaned the place out. It was an honest mistake. Next up is Blue Destiny Brothel, the best damn whorehouse in the capital wasteland. Strong booze and soft women. It shut down in the summer of 49 when most of the ladies died from a cholera outbreak. Alright, next up is Underworld, a city of the dead. Or undead, as some would believe. Underworld was, and is, a settlement of ghouls, established in an old art exhibit in the Museum of American History. Argyle and I used to go there quite a bit. I was even voted honorary ghoul back in 51. I really should go back and visit sometime. And here is the final places entry. It is none other than Megaton, a town built around an undetonated atomic bomb. My kind of place. Megaton is pretty well fortified now, but back in my day, it was even more of a ramshackle. Great place to grab a drink and a broad. I hear Moriarty even has his own place now. Guess that shouldn't surprise me. That guy has been playing the angles since the day he ended up in this country, as a kid. Alright, now we're going on to pests here. Mirelurks. Goddamn walking crabs. Tough to kill, but pretty delicious afterward. Their outer carapace is hell to penetrate, though. Good thing their face isn't armored, and Argyle has such a good right jab. Feral ghouls. Ghouls gone bad. Their brains had rotted through so much they lost the ability to think straight. Argyle and I fought these hapless zombie bastards more time than I could count. I think he actually liked killing them. Saw it as a way to revenge against God for his own situation or something. Rad scorpions. I've been a lot of places in my day, and everywhere you find those damned rad scorpions. Rumor was they descended from emperor scorpions, which you could find pretty much in any pet store in the country when the bombs fell. Guess that explains their population. Yaogwai. Bears. Or the capital wasteland's equivalent, anyway. You're not going to find one of these babies bouncing on a big rubber ball, though, I can tell you that much. They're vicious as they come. Razor-sharp claws, razor-sharp teeth, nasty, nasty temperament. And finally, we have robo-brains. I have to admit, I've always been fascinated by these things. Such an ingenious creation. A robot powered by a brain and a sexy dame's voice. Of course, I always had to wonder, were they human brains? Were they actually the brains of sexy dames? Or is it all monkey brains and recordings? Anyway, I got hit by one of their mind blasts once. Hell of a headache for 3 days. So that is it for Mr. Herbert Daring Dashwood. Seemed to be kind of a player back in his day. Turns out there is one more short terminal entry that is worth reading, but that will be for next time. So I will see you all in the wasteland.
To participate in the Fallout Terminal Velocity Project, send your special letters, holotapes, and terminal entries to thefalloutfeed@gmail.com.
All right, I need a little backstory. Daring Dashwood, is that used in 76? Was that one of the season's themes or whatever?
So, no, Herbert Daring Dashwood was a character in Fallout 3. He was the older man living in Tenpenny Tower who was kind of the retired adventurer.
Okay,
and he had
hasn't been used as one of the scoreboard things or whatever.
No.
There was like adventurer
Rip
people's
Daring.
Rip Daring. There you go. Okay.
Rip Daring is more of an Indiana Jones type. Off-brand Indiana Jones at home. Herbert Daring Dashwood he's more of your classic like 1930s, 1940s novel explorer. But yeah, so we get his guide to some areas around the capital wasteland and a few others, and learn a little bit about his history there on those terminals. What was the name of his manservant again? Do you guys remember? Was it Argyle?
Yeah, I think that was right.
That's great.
That's funny.
So he has a couple others, but Rockopolis. So I think, I mean, you can hear some of these radio plays, and so he's kind of actually just addressing things from the radio plays in all this.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Alrighty. Hey guys, you want to participate in the Fallout Terminal Velocity? You know what to do. Hit us up. Hey, Jess, I hear that we might have a little bit of news tonight.
Jessica, to the office, please. Jessica, to the office. Your iguana bits are ready. Please come pick them up. So just a couple. Let's make this quick. First of all, Fallout. The Fallout TV show just won Best Adaptation at the Game Awards. So congratulations, Fallout.
Nice. What? That seems so strange for a video game. I understand a book, how to adapt a book, or a movie. It's kind of like, wow, that's just a different level trying to do a video game into
Right.
a TV
And
show.
as we know, video games to TV and movies has not always been good. They've gotten better. I mean, there have been some good examples in the past, and they've gotten better lately. But so this is at the Game Awards itself. So it's all about video game adaptations.
Yeah.
Other things in the category were, for instance, the Last of Us TV show, which was pretty damn good.
Yep.
Pretty damn good.
Pretty excellent.
And the favorite to win, which the other one that I think probably more people thought would win than Fallout, surprisingly, was Arcane, which is a show, I believe, based on League of Legends. But Arcane, it did win for its first season back in like 2022, I think. So it has won once. So I think the reason that it didn't this time was, first of all, Fallout, the absolute best, and it really was a good show. But also, some people who might have voted for Arcane said, "Hey, they've already won. I'm going to give it to the new kid on the block because that was awesome." So,
And we
funny-
appreciate it.
Exactly. Funny thing, though, which you guys probably already know, and most listeners do, but if you don't, Ella Purnell is one of the main characters in Arcane as well. So we had Lucy. She's Lucy in this, and she's Jinx in that show. So she's in both. So either way,
I had
she
no
would
idea.
have
That's hilarious.
won. Yeah. So they went up when they went to get the award. Went up with Jonah Nolan, and of course Todd was there, and Ella was there. All three of them went up. Jonah spoke first. He had a few things to say. One of the comments that I really enjoyed, he said, "I'd also like to thank the New Vegas fans out there for not," I believe he said, not firebombing my house or not burning my house, something like that, for not burning my house so I could make a second season. And I think you're going to be really glad you did. So there you go. That is a nice hint to kind of say that people worried that he's going to, mess with canon or do something that they would really dislike with New Vegas. He may still, you know what I mean? Because obviously people can be upset about anything and don't necessarily like deviation from the norm, like what happened with Shady Sands. But it sounds like he's saying you're gonna see a lot of cool stuff that you want to see. So,
but
that was
New Vegas
really fun.
itself isn't canon, right?
Oh, of course it is.
No,
of
it's
course
not. It's made by that stepbrother company.
it is. Look at you tweaking them, Andrew. That was
Yeah.
good. That was really good. Plus 10 trolling.
Doesn't
yeah.
doesn't even matter.
But I thought that was a pretty funny comment. So he did that, and then Todd gestured if Ella wanted to say something, and Ella shook her head. No, I don't need to step up to the mic and say anything. Because I heard a person or two say, "Man, they should have let Ella speak," but Todd actually gave her the little, "Hey, you want to go next?" And she was like, "No." And
No.
part of me wonders if, because Arcane was favored to win, if she had done a speech for Arcane and was just kind of going to wing fall if she had to. I don't know.
That's funny. Why not prepare two?
Yeah, and she probably actually would have, and maybe just didn't want to talk because she was up there with everybody. But so then Todd stepped up and said some great things, and just great to hear from them. Todd was also there presenting while we're on the subject for an earlier award. He went up there for Indy and was up there with the voice actor Troy Baker, who plays Indiana Jones, and that was really fun. So they're up there, they were presenting, and then Harrison Ford came out with them. So you had new Indy and old Indy and Todd there, and it was just great. Harrison was doing his, gruff 82-year-old guy thing that he does. and some people said he might have been a little tipsy, might have been, who knows? It's an award show, but yeah, it was just fun to kind of see them up there and being all gracious. And some people asked about Todd's height there too, because of the fact that obviously Troy is much taller than average, and Todd is a little shorter than average. So people ask about that sometimes too, because next to Ella Purnell and Jonah Nolan, like he looks short, but he's really, I was thinking he was around 5'4" or so, but I've heard from multiple sources he's actually 5'6". So he's not that short, people. He'd be like my height at like eye line.
I didn't realize there was a Todd Howard height controversy out there.
It's funny because you would think like obviously people talking about the show and they do and congratulating, but if you go to say like Fallout Reddit and a few other places, it's almost all like Todd, you sweet baby boy, and there's a picture of Troy Baker from his chest up and just like Todd like Kilroy, just his eyes and hair. Looking in the frame. There's another picture of him next to Snoop Dogg. And I mean, Snoop is super tall, but people just kind of, pointing it out.
Yeah.
Some people said, with the three of them together look like a Wi-Fi signal with like him at 5'6", Harrison at 6, and Troy Baker at like 6'4" or 6'6" or something. He's pretty tall.
Good job, guys.
But yeah, looking great out there accepting awards. It was just really great to see, and so happy that the show won Best Adaptation. Keep in mind, it is up for other awards too. So when we actually get to the Emmys and such, there's always a chance.
The absolute best part about the Game Awards is Pedro Eustace.
Yes, aka Flute Guy. Pedro is awesome.
He was definitely his maximum dramatic self, playing all of his different flutes, for the soundtrack stuff.
Yeah, he gets the
so
curly
animated.
flutes and the long flutes. And it's funny because I think he first joined the orchestra like 3-4 years ago, and people immediately picked up on him. And so every year we see him. But I feel like a lot of the orchestra is pretty animated too. Like the keyboard guy was jamming, really getting into it. The music was
Crystal
all
trumpet
good.
guy, he's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I like the drummer during the Arcane song. But I think he was actually from 21 Pilots, like because they performed that one with the band 21 Pilots. The singer and such. We were joking in chat. Jerry, so a lot of us, of course, watching along while they're on, commenting in our Discord. And Jerry said he thought he was there trying to sell watches because he was being all there emotional with the mic and always flashing the bling the whole time. That was funny. Speaking of bling, Kojima came out too, and Kojima actually had on his cool purple velvet like jacket, he had the symbol, I think his company symbol, all in like gold and like crystals. It was huge. Did you see that, Ray?
Yeah.
It was funny. I mean, ostentatious, but great. I loved it. So yeah, announcements at the Game Awards. Wasn't going to talk about them too much, but a fun one. How about Outer Worlds 2, Ray? That was a surprise.
I mean, it is and it isn't. Because they it's been 2 or 3 years ago they announced that it was coming out.
Right. Yeah. The not a surprise part is because they actually said they started it around the time that they released Outer Worlds 1. In fact, they said they started it immediately before Outer Worlds 1 released. So back in 2022, if you listen to my predictions for E3 2 years ago, I'm like, what if Outer Worlds 2 came out first before Avowed? So, we knew that it could be happening. But with only Avowed being announced last year and then planned for this fall and now February, I didn't think they'd do them both in the same year, but it makes sense. If Outer Worlds 2 was on track, it might be out in the fall, and then Avowed got pushed. So yeah, it makes sense. It was just a kind of a cool surprise.
Yeah.
And the way they did the trailer, really funny again. I don't know if you saw it, Andrew, but they did it with a lot of comedy, like the whole game is. Which, did you ever end up playing Outer Worlds at all, Andrew, or no?
No, I maybe have seen the trailer. I think that's about as much exposure as I got.
So, and of course, Ray talked about it. He played it 1.5 times. I played it like 70% times. I played it like almost 3/4, but not quite. It was good. Good characters, fun story. It was in some ways ended up being, kind of, it wasn't as open as people had hoped with them kind of doing the New Vegas comparison stuff. It's more your more linear region-based Obsidian RPG. Really fun. I was just 2 into 76 when it came out to finish is kind of why I didn't finish the first time. DLC was great. So this new one, the Joe for the trailer, it was funny because the way they advertised Obsidian, they focused on the 2s. So from the studio that brought you Knights of the Old Republic 2, because they did. And studio that brought you Neverwinter Nights 2, because they did. And the studio that brought you Fallout 3, New Vegas 2. Because, Fallout 3 too. I mean, New Vegas, yeah. Okay, you could look at it that way. But, and so they said, comes Outer Worlds 2. So it was a funny ad like they do. But really enjoyed it. Looks good. They said at least 3 times the work and at least twice as big. So, just fun little comments like that. Looks great. Anything else really catch your eye at the Game Awards, Ray? That
Mostly just what was missing. So,
what was that?
What were you hoping to see?
Info on Light Snow Fire.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, me too.
Because if it was there, that would have made it very likely it came out next year. We're still in limbo and just don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing about Hello Games is they are very, very close to the vest on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the fact that we know that they're working on that game is, I think it's only because they're releasing stuff in the No Man's Sky that they're developing in that game. So otherwise, they like to just drop stuff.
Yeah, they wanted people to know it was happening, but not too much. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because some of the things are synergistic. Some of the things they work on for No Man's Sky might be things that are implemented in this new game too.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of stuff that they're coming up with in development of that game, they're able to roll into No Man's Sky that they wouldn't necessarily have done if they weren't working on this other game.
It's really cool. I mean, and that makes sense that companies will do that when they're in the same engine or similar engines and coming up with these technologies. I mean, to an extent, they might have done that with 76 and Starfield, or other things like that with Bethesda. So, yeah, there were a number of things that I saw that I liked, but nothing to really shout out. Outer Worlds was just the really big surprise. But it's going to be a crazy year for RPGs next year with Avowed, Fable, and Outer Worlds all coming. That's 3 RPGs, all from Xbox, Microsoft Studios, that look great. So I'm excited about all of those. And some fun indies too. There's one game that I want to mention just because I'm going to be talking about it when it comes out, because I think it looks really good, called Sleight of Hand. And it is a card-based stealth game, but it's set, it's noir styled in the 30s, 40s, and you're playing an occult detective who is investigating and infiltrating a cult. But it's stealth where you move around, you crouch, and you listen to stuff, and it's got like the 30s, 40s music vibes and all that. So all the atmosphere that is really kind of appealing to Fallout fans too. And at the same time, when you want to attack or do things, it's card-based. So you might have a deck of cards, you pull a hand of cards, and it might be, a stealth takedown. It might be, use a distraction, stuff like that. So you actually play cards to make the thing happen in the game to get through these scenarios. I'll figure out more when it's out, but I just wanted to shout it out. Sleight of Hand. It was at Day of the Devs at the Game Awards. So it was before the Game Awards. It was at a pre-show put on by Day of the Devs where they were kind of focusing on more indie games. Really enjoyable. But yeah, I think that's it for the Game Awards. 76, I want to mention. So there were, a number of things happened, of course. Bethesda, we've talked about it before, always takes at least a 3-week break over the holidays. Talked to a couple people. They're all looking forward to their vacation. Today was the last day of work for many of them for at least 3 weeks. So good on y'all. Enjoy. Have a great vacation. And John Rush and Bill Lacoste. So the directors of Fallout 76 put out a big old letter. And this was linked on Twitter and it's up on Bethesda.net. But we got a lot of cool information from it. So, they mentioned Fallout 76 celebrated its 6th anniversary. And they kind of talk about all the different things. They mentioned we've had more than 50 major patches featuring over 20 milestone updates, which I mentioned last week. There'd only been like 19 or 20 named updates, but they mentioned over 50 major patches. So that's where that comes from. But he basically talks through all the major steps, which we know. We don't need to dwell on the past. But let's look at the future because we almost got a roadmap from this letter. So about halfway through, he switches to, let's cast our gaze toward the horizon for a glimpse of what's coming to Fallout 76 over the next year. For the first time in any Fallout game, players can turn their character into a ghoul. I'm quoting from the article now. Players who become ghouls will have chosen a life path full of challenges, but equally ripe with potential. While ghouls suffer no ill effects from radiation exposure, be careful not to turn feral. So there's a clue. We didn't know anything about having to worry about being feral before. Interesting. So the ghoul update comes to Appalachia early 2025. So expect that it's going to be there by spring. Could be February, could be March, but I don't think it would be any later than March when they say early 2025. Moving on, when spring fills the air, hills of Appalachia are in full bloom, flowers won't be all this blossoming. Get out your weed killer and green thumb, or they'll be pushing up daisies. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, new spring-themed seasonal event, The Big Bloom. So we're getting a new server-wide event called The Big Bloom. And they say you get a rich bouquet of event-themed awards and grow new wasteland friendships on the way. A lot of puns there. We don't know what The Big Bloom is, but it's a big seasonal event, so I'm excited. We don't have just Voshnock now. We've got another one, so that'll be good. And then fishing, they said they're aiming for summer. What would summer be without grabbing a fishing pole and heading down to your favorite radioactive watering hole? Yeah, choose that one, that pond that Andrew used to like to soak in to get his mutations by hemlock holes.
You don't want to fish in that one.
Have you ever been tickled by a fish while sitting in your watering hole?
I've been dipping my nuts in there for months, so you don't want to be drinking that.
Okay, maybe go for the running water, y'all. Go for the moving water, not the stagnant ball dipping water.
Yeah, there's something growing on top of that water. Ew.
So there's going to be a mysterious location where we encounter a fisherman who is sharing their love for fishing, and they're going to sell things so that you can actually start fishing. So you're going to need to use probably a specific pole and such. But yeah, everything you need to catch any of the fish and hooks and all that. And they say catch any of the slimy, scaled swimmers found across Appalachia. So we may be getting mutant fish. They may not be normal fish. We're going to be catching y'all. And then, get your football kicking shoes ready.
Uh-oh.
Because
my football kicking shoes.
Yes, because Lucy, aka Bill and John, in this letter say later in the year, Mischief Night is set to make a triumphant return.
Oh no!
This seasonal event offers players a fun spectacle full of spooks, scares, and mischief. Who would have thought? So yeah, for the third or fourth time, we may get Mischief Night back. We will see if it happens, but fingers crossed.
Nope, won't happen.
I mean, they were close this year, so it's possible. We even got items for it in the build menu. That cauldron hot tub is the one I started to think of, which also you shouldn't fish in a cauldron hot tub, just
Probably
FYI.
not. Probably not.
Yeah. But they mentioned that this is not all. They're going to introduce new perk cards throughout the year, too. So not only are they adding ghoul perk cards, but now that they've changed perk cards, they're going to add some more, too, so we can continue to build, try new loadouts and such. And finally, we got one of those cool stats sheets. So you know how periodically they, tell us stats on how many thises or that's we put down, how many Scorch Beast Queens and such. This one's a little bit shorter than some, but I wanted to hit, these are 2024 player highlights. So I guess this is for the entire year of 2024, or it might just be since the Skyline Valley update in June, whatever that was. But okay, 2024 highlights. Region bosses defeated. That means the, the Beaver Titan, Earl, and the Scorch Beast Queen. 3,332,000. Pretty good.
That's a lot.
Storm Goliath defeated. So those are the new robots with the weather event you get down in Skyline Valley. That's 1,685,000. So quite a few. Favorite melee weapon in Appalachia for the last year has been the Deathclaw Gauntlet. Favorite ranged weapon has been and remains the Fixer, which is not a surprise. I see some people saying, really, still the Fixer? No, people like it. It has its value. You make it automatic. It's great for commando. Very versatile weapon. Favorite perk card that people have mounted, Starched Jeans. Now, I don't know if they're counting what people take when they're leveling up or what they're counting what people mount. I imagine they're counting what people take. Or maybe when you save your build on the card machine, they don't tell you how they collect it. But yeah, Starched Jeans, which, of course, they know we like our mutations, right? We don't want to lose them. Number of camps built in Skyline Valley. Okay, how many camps do you think people have built just in Skyline Valley since that launched 6 months ago? Any guess?
Just in that little tiny quadrant down there.
Yep, the new area of the map, 6 months.
That let's go with I have no idea. Ray, what do you think? 25 grand. What do you think, Ray? More than that?
I'm going to go higher.
Higher than 25.
Okay. Ray's not going to put a number on the table. He's just saying higher. Ray, you are correct. It was 2,823,569. Yeah. People see, they've built almost as many camps in Skyline Valley, or placed almost as many camps in Skyline Valley as they have taken down bosses.
That's remarkable.
It's a new region. It just goes to show that the 20-some million players that we've had, all the players we've had, they get into the game and they do like their camp building. Plus, chances are it counts every time you've placed your camp and launched it. So some of us might do 2 or 3 placements before we actually settle. But still.
Count survival tent placement as a camp.
I do not think so. I do not think it would count survival tent placement. But yeah, that's just great. Just shows how active people are and how much they want to check out new areas. Most popular ally, this is a real surprise to people, was Del Lawson. Del is the, I believe, is he a Brotherhood guy from the scoreboard? Anyway, it's Del Lawson, but I think that's also new placements. A lot of us who have had Sophia or Beckett or one of the others Mull for a long time, if we didn't place them down new and they just live in our camp, it's not going to count. So it's only new ones put down. Mothman Blessings at the Mothman Equinox, 1,153,000. It's a hell of a lot of moth dust. Good on ya. Best builds. So you might be wondering, I submitted a best build. Why don't I ever get likes on my best build? There have been 405,417 best builds in the menu. So even if they're rolling out hundreds a day on servers or 1,000 a day on servers, it still can be 400 some thousand before yours is in there. So it's a lot. And the final stat, players who have actually unraveled the mystery of S16. So people who finished the Skyline Valley quest line, the new quest line, 371,000. So that's really interesting. It goes to show again. In that 6 months, we had a lot more people start the quest line but not finish it. Go down to the new area, play events, play regions, but a lot of Fallout 76 players, as much as they're like, oh, I want more story, I want more of this, they're more likely to engage with events, more likely to fight bosses, do events, do caravans, build camps, than they are to actually finish the quest line. So we're going to add to that with this roundtable. A lot of people here, you two, and others listening haven't done the quest line yet, so we'll add to that number. But yeah, less than 1 million have actually done the new quest, despite millions playing in the last year.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry I went on about it, but I just thought that was kind of a fun stat.
Yeah, I always like hearing those end of the year stats.
Yeah.
You got your Spotify list coming out, your Microsoft your list coming out, your all the end of the list, all the end of the year list coming out now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love seeing those wrapped and stuff like that. We talked about like the Xbox play time last week and such.
Right. Yeah.
And there are other articles about it. They're talking about 2024 for Bethesda as a whole. Another article on that just mentioning Fallout's live action debut, Skyline Valley. Elder Scrolls Online had its 10-year anniversary. They launched a new Gold Road expansion. We had Doom 2's 30th anniversary and all kinds of things. We had Shattered Space come out and Creations. We had Castles come out, Indiana Jones, just all kinds of things Bethesda did this year. So it's a fun read too, and good to reflect on how much and how far we have come.
I don't play that Indiana Jones game.
Oh man, the little bit that I saw, it's great. I think you're really gonna like it.
Yeah, pretty stoked.
Mm-hmm. And just checking the Twitter end of year stuff. They've shared a bit. Like I said, they're going on break, so they tried to do a whole lot of sharing the last week about things like the Twitch recap and fun camps and the statistics. They did some really cute promotional art with the kitties and the doggies and the pets for Fallout 76 going into the next year that I thought was really cute. And that's about it. Oh, happy holidays in the vault. Also, Fallout Shelter is getting presents and bonuses through Monday, Andrew, but that's probably just on mobile.
That's fine.
It doesn't say just on mobile, but given the track record, it usually is. Mobile and sometimes PC even.
Yeah, never console though. You can count on that.
No. And even though we love it, I don't think Castles is coming to console. I'm just not a mobile player.
I still can't believe Shelter was my most played game last year.
It's hilarious. I mean, even if it's partly sitting on the menu, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny.
But that's it for the bits.
Okay, well, we do have some shouts on our way out the door here. So I will take the lead and say, hey, you guys who won a little piece of Fallout memorabilia for your merchandise collection, your little stand, your little knickknacks and whatnot, you are part of the prize posse and won when we were playing a little bit of
What time is it?
Game Time. So, if you are part of the prize posse, I went to the post office today and shipped off the first round of the prizes for all of you very patient folks out there who, and no one hounded me for, was about 2 months ago we started doing.
I mean, it
the
was free
prize
stuff, but it was only like 6-7 weeks ago.
Okay. Well,
so that's why we took the last few weeks off.
Yeah.
So we didn't have too many built up for you.
Right. The first round is in the mail, so keep your eye on that. That
means we'll be doing
my,
games again.
That's my shout this week.
That's an awesome shout. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Mindfog, new episode for this year. I know it's been about a year since the last one.
Nice.
But if you've been waiting to see how things ended up with that courser and everything from last spring, new episode is out of Mindfog, so check it out.
Oh, brilliant. Love Aaron.
And then I wrote another shout out, which was I wrote something, and I don't remember what something was.
I was going to be like, what is going into this? I thought it was a big buildup. I thought it was going to be a surprise. You actually just don't know.
I honestly didn't notice. I'm like, oh, I had a cool shout from someone in the group. I don't remember what it was. And maybe it was on the Facebook group. But so shout out to everybody on the Facebook group.
Was it
and all the cool
Feralda?
things. Will's Feralda Skyrim story? No, but that is both on Discord and Skyrim. He is finding out using AI NPCs who he wants to name as Archmage in his place in the Winterhold College of Magic. It's a very, very compelling story.
The faculty is
really been
not
enjoying it.
happy about it.
Well, no, I mean, they're rivals, so that's great. Oh, shout out to Jared. He actually shared his time played from Wrapped, and he had 950 hours in Starfield. So, way to go, Jared.
Nice.
Any of you are listening that long?
Go play 50 more hours, please.
Get that 1,000.
Get that 1,000 milestone. You can do that.
I was telling people that was the Xbox. The Xbox Champions Club. Like how we say, 300 hours is Champions Club in 76 or level 300. But 1,000 hours in a year is Champions Club for Xbox gamers. So good job, y'all.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's a good milestone to hit, you guys.
Next week coming up, we are going to be doing our quest. So Ray and myself and Andrew will be talking about property rights. And supplying demands, I believe, are the quests we're going to be doing. Property rights and supplying demands.
Are we playing video games or like taking economics subclasses? What's going on here?
Yeah, with the names on these, it's pretty funny.
All right. Hey, looking forward to you guys. We'll see you next time when we are playing those quests. And then you guys can send some feedback. The show following that. That's probably Christmas week, I bet you, coming up around there. I don't know if we have any special plans specifically this year for holiday stuff, but we might put together like a music playlist or so. I don't know. We'll think of something, or maybe we'll just not. Who knows? Do you guys have anything else you would like to get into this evening?
That'll do, Pig.
In that case, you can find Ray over there on the Twitters at RayLB. Also at BBC ISSS for the Butcher, Baker, Candlemaker in Space for all your No Man's Sky needs. Ray, thank you so much for hopping on.
Good times.
Jess can be found at Sleep is 4T, also at You Wastelanders, also at Dames Who Game, and please remind me of your new Starfield show, Jess.
Starfield Lorecast. That's the one. New episode should be out on Monday.
Check it out, everybody. Thanks so much for hopping on tonight, Jess.
Thank you.
The show can be found at the Fallout feed, and I frequent the Facebook group. Both Ray and Jess can be communicated with also in our Discord. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout feed. We will see you in the wasteland.
Guess what? Jingle Scorch starts Tuesday. They're showing up. Get your presents.
Jing, 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 jing.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.
Nasty, nasty temperament.
A settlement needs our help.
In and out 5 times, and I was done.
It's unfortunately delicious.
She might have been into me, but I ended up having to kill her.
Just cranking out, die.
Back in and out and in and out.